What's going on YouTube? It's going to be Daddy coming to you from Masawa, Japan. Take the style with my guy as always. First time of this year, correct?
Yeah, man. Time. We in the 2022.
Yeah. First time this year. I was like, I can't let the whole month expire without talking to my guy right here, man. We got to get it in and everything. So it's just been, just get right into it, man. Like I don't, Lex been rolling out the videos and I've been rolling out the videos and his son's getting faster and faster, man. And it's like one of those things where the people out there, man, there's still people in 2022 saying I'm bored. I'm like, if you bored in 2022, you got problems, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you can find something to do,
man. Like, you can find some little dungeon group. It's something for everybody out there now, man. Like, 2022. So, I mean, Lex is out there getting his son faster and faster. The bike's getting modded and modded, as I see behind him. And it's just modifying and changing, and it's becoming not a it's getting serious quick. So what's going on with progress and everything, man? How's that going, man?
Man, we just accidentally fell into something super interesting. Like, I didn't think that bike was going to be anything interesting. I was just getting it, just making an excuse to get it, which sounded good, so my wife wouldn't say, "Damn, you bringing home another bike."
Yeah.
And for your Japan audience, your Japanese audience, here in America, our cart tracks do not like cars on them.
Oh, yeah.
And our cart tracks also don't like motorcycles on them. But they allow supermoto dirt bikes on those cart tracks. So then they also allow small CC motorcycles on those cart tracks. And that was the loophole. So I can't take the R1, I can't take the R6, but under 400 cc's works. So that's where this thing came into play.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know what to expect, and I swear I've talked shit about R3s before. I think I can remember talking shit about R3s. Why are they around? Who rides them? You know what I mean?
Because they looked the part, man. And like what's weird about that is I seen my first day I got my dirt bike I picked up from the guy. I wanted to ride this shit right away. Like, it wasn't no waiting on that, so I took it out to ride it. And the chick had I never seen it. It was a Gixxer, like a 125. I'm like, what the?
Yes, they have Gixxer 125s and Gixxer 250s.
But the body looked like a regular bike. It looked like a big.
Yeah.
Other than when you started, you definitely know it's not a bigger motor. But I was like, there was her brother, but her brother had 1000s and shit. He was a more experienced rider and shit, so she wanted to follow her brother, older siblings. And I was like, that. I mean, it looked clean as hell, man. I never seen it. Now it didn't hit me that they make smaller motors in a bigger frame, which essentially, so the R3, if you break it down, man, between the R3 and then your R1, R6, the dimensions, are they similar or different?
No, it's really small.
Okay.
So I know it doesn't look like it behind me because it's sitting next to one of the smaller motorcycles. Right. The R6 is a very small motorcycle. When I ride that compared to the R1, it physically is smaller than the R1. When you jump on the R3, it's even smaller and it's more narrow. So in the back, I have my FZR 600, which is a 92.
Right.
It's a very narrow bike, but it is a 600cc bike. This R3 is even more narrow than that. So I've been like calling it a mini bike because of that reason. When you're on this bike, it does not feel serious. It's not fast enough to get me in trouble because I ride these. Right. That bike, I just feel like crack the throttle and we're having a blast.
Yeah.
Its top speed is supposedly 115 to 119. If you don't got a headwind, you know what I mean? Right. It's one of those bikes that is like, this ain't shit. And I think that's why I used to make fun of them. But when I got it, I was saying like you, we got it. And I just straight away went to the kart track. I would have rode it like this because it's so non-threatening, right? but the track requires the helmet, the suit, and everything. So, you feel funny putting on all that shit that I put on when I go to the track days. With this thing,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
an
yeah.
animal. But on that little bitty ass kart track with this little ass bike, 21 pound-feet of torque, 40 horsepower, you don't think you're going to have fun. You just think, like, real shit. I brought the Zuma and I rode the Zuma thinking I was going to have the same experience on both of the
Right.
bikes. I let my boy ride that and I rode the Zuma. Man, let me tell you, this is where the fun is on the kart track.
I gotta get one
Now,
now,
see,
man.
again, in America, our kart tracks are like, hell no, y'all don't touch them. So I can't go take this and put it on a kart track. This would be a blast to go on a kart track with. Tight turns, straightaways that I can link in one motion, but they don't allow us to get on there. Our market, people buy these leader bikes 1000s or adventure tours. So our market is a little different. We don't have small CCs. Even our younger riders, they don't want to. They want the biggest animals they can get, and they get on these, right?
Yeah.
So our market doesn't have a small CC per se. I just put a video out on this. Back in the 80s, we had everything. All the markets were just about the same. We had two strokes. We had 250s, 350s, 500s. We had all of these model motorcycles. As everybody only wanted these and these, all of those models went away. Then we had Kawasaki, which was very stubborn. They never changed their Kawasaki Ninja 250. It was a parallel twin 250. They didn't change that thing from the 80s. So if you look at the same bike from 1984 all the way up to 2006, same bike, same wheels, same plastics, same everything. That bike sold every year from 86 to 2006. Sales never fell off. Executives look at that and say, oh, hey, here we go. Let's make twins. So everybody started making small displacement bikes. College students and girls would get on them. People that leave out of motorcycle training would get on them because everybody in motorcycle training said that's a starter bike. Let me tell you, dog, this is not a fucking starter bike. This is a badass little They made the perfect decision calling it a YZF R3. This is your YZF R1. This is your YZF R6. These are animals. Why does this have the same lineage? Because it's a little fucking animal, right? They give you these stupid handlebars to start out with. Take those off, put clip-ons on, and it's down in the racing position. You would not know. If somebody owned an R3,
so what's the handlebars? Because I'm new to it. So are they straight across, or are they like?
Yes, the factory ones are straight across.
Okay.
You're in a very upright riding position, very comfortable. If you look at the bike from the side, the handlebars are super close to the gas tank. You've got all of this open space that would be right here. It's very open because your handlebars are further back for you to be upright and comfortable. If you put clip-ons like this, like I've done on it, and it goes into an actual racer's position, that whole bike changes. I learned so much because the first thing I was like, the suspension, it's soft, it's touring stuff. Direct bolt-in replacement, just needing spacers, I used a 2019 Kawasaki Ninja 650R rear shock. Heavier bike, bigger bike. It's a kind of like a touring road bike, sport bike. Typically would have two people on it. That big old shock is on this little ass bike. So that made it handle super good because the suspension is not adjustable on that.
Right.
This is a little pocket bike that has everything on it. And we used to have this bike called an FZR 400. It was a very small version of my bike in the backyard, but it was an inline four. rev to like 13 RPM. It screamed, but it was a smaller bike, only did about 120 miles an hour. But you got the real motorcycle feel, sounds, and look from a smaller bike. When everybody went to single pistons or twins, and this is a twin,
Right.
It's a parallel twin. One happens to be smaller than the other piston, but they are side by side. And it screams. It sounds like half of this bike, which is really funny, but it's blast.
So you just changed your muffler on there too, right?
Yeah, because the stock one was super scratched and messed up. You know, I got it from the guy. I had to fix everything he broke, correct all the stuff that is naturally wrong with the bike,
right.
and then improve upon it with a little bit of things. So as we've gone on, and you sit back and look at the bike, and you're like, this thing is kind of fucking cool, man. So when we brought Jalen to the track, I rode it and said, okay, this is fun. That little bike on that little track feels like my big bike on the big track. So I was kind of nervous about letting Jalen ride, but I didn't even have his suit in yet. I'm like, here, just grab one of my old suits, keep all your clothes on under it, put that on.
Right.
Yeah, the danger in having a loose suit is if you go down, that suit grabs and moves like your clothes, right? You start to flip and tumble. The suits are supposed to be really tight on you, so when you fall, you just, yeah. So I was like, shit, but hey, I'm that kind of father.
Yeah.
He's not going to go that fast. We'll be all right. Man, this kid got on there and took to it. We've been doing stuff around the neighborhood. I've obviously trained him up pretty good. He got out there and was flying. So that was his first experience. He loved it. It was great. So I made a few changes. We went back. He got on it again, and he was going even faster. And I'm like, damn, this kid is going to make me work. So I had to get on, and I had to go as fast as I could go at the time. And the cool part is the track is really slippery because it's prepped for go-karts. You know, go-karts got outrageous grip, but they have a track prep that allows a little bit of slip on them so you can drive them around and slide them, pitch them in.
Yeah, because if they got too much grip, they'll like those things will tumble right over.
Yeah, they they do something weird. They cut in, it bounces, hops, and then they could flip and all this other stuff. So the surface has a little bit of give, but the bike handles it as if you have a big horsepower bike on the racetrack. So it could slide at times, and that's what was making me nervous. I was like, damn, is this kid going to be able to handle it? But he handled it really good, dude. It impressed me.
Yeah.
Plus, it made me sweat.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I gotta go fast.
I know, like in your mind, like your that little clock start going off. Like, so like how long until he's faster or as fast as me, man? And it's just going to happen, man. Because we just talked about talked about it before we closed out last year, man. I mean, that's the benefits and perks of them growing up around it. Like we didn't. Now for me in particular, because I know you mentioned your dad did have some cars and everything. For me, I didn't come up around none of that. Like nobody I knew growing up, cars were just like a mode of transportation, and nobody had cool shit. My uncle did have a and it didn't, because he kind of didn't want us ever in it. It was he had the old school Cresta, like that, and he had like some transmission where it was automatic, but you could shift it. And that thing,
I don't know. I forget the old school they have it, and it's a 3-speed, right?
I don't know what he had, man. But at that time, as a kid, that car was like when we rode in it, that thing was fast as shit, man. Like it was, and it was cool as fuck. It had the little the 2 big round headlights, and he never, and he I mean, like eating, drinking. That was a no-go. Like that car was no-go, and I don't know where it's at. You know what? That thing, you're probably in a junkyard, or I doubt it. But him and my aunt kind of, the marriage fizzled out, and I don't know if they married to. I just didn't keep up with their marital status and everything. But I don't know where that car is. And I'm actually gonna ask her where that car is, because I'm talking about it. That thing might be sitting in the garage.
It might be somewhere around Baltimore.
That car, the Kiri pit in that car, it ain't going to. He might have sold it. It might be sold, but anyway, man. But speaking of that real quick before we get into like the main topics I got right here, man. Being that Jalen is young, man. On the bikes, are you going to introduce him to let him get on quads, let him get on the dirt bikes, let him get on other stuff to kind of put everything together, or you just want to keep them for now strictly on the R3?
Nah, I want him to ride everything, to literally be able to get on anything and find fun in it. Because I'm all about him having fun. Whatever he's into, whatever I can expose him to experience, let's do it.
Right.
Now, Parenthood does say dirt bikes and quads are more dangerous in the dirt, right? Because things can happen. You know, what you were doing in your latest couple videos.
Yeah, top speed.
You get some speed. Yeah, you get some speed.
And I didn't think about why I was like, fuck it, I'm going, because of it. I just don't want to think about that while I'm going, because you're going to slow down.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know if you noticed in that video, I was riding on seashells, by the way. These little white dots, they look small in the video, but they were like, I would say about.
But you can feel them.
Yeah, you feel them. I was like, man, and I started, and the thing about it was red, and I'm pretty sure I'm preaching to the choir. Like I didn't think it would be as stable as it is like at full throttle.
Once you get to speed, yeah.
And then as soon as
and that's the point.
You watched the video. Did you see the video when I fell over? Mm-hmm. So like, the dude was like, dude, you did like top speed, like maybe 80 mile per hour. You were doing 80 mile per hour on a bike. As soon as you slowed down, you fell over. Like you see, he's like, yeah, you got to keep the speed up and blast through that corner.
Exactly it. So dirt bikes and all of that stuff, you can jam on them on the softest, most non-packed surface, right? Yep. And as long as you're jamming, they're set up to keep that load, and you just go arrow straight. It might waver and wobble a little bit, but when you decelerate, then that's when it digs in and stuff happens. So as a father, I'm thinking, that can happen to Jalen, but I'm sure he'll be all right with it, and I'll let him step it up as far as he decides. With whatever speed he wants. But I let him ride everything and get on everything. Just like the other day, he was driving my race car and I was driving the stock RX-8 or the wide body RX-8. Right. And we're driving around and he's having fun with that. I just want him to be able to get acclimated to anything that's here, anything that I can give him access to. Like, try it out.
I think it's such a good thing, man. And like, again, very fortunate to be in that position. A lot of people, man, I see them get crushed to that car. Like, if you hear guys all the time at events, I know you hear it. If it was my S14, man, it would have it has 4 wheels and that shit got a gas pedal. Yeah. And it ain't a fucking straight clunker. The wheels spin, you can make it happen. And I see so many guys in the track, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, if it was your S14, it'd be a whole different. And it's
and that's how I am. I've been like that just because I have multiple cars. I have to slide. I want to slide all of them about the same level. Like there's a standard that you want to slide up to.
Right.
Certain cars might reach over that standard, right, but you just don't want to be under that standard, right? And so that's how I've always been. Plus, other people always offer me to drive this, and so I want to get in that car, especially if I've been watching them. I watch them. I want to get in that car and drive up to their level in it. Right. If I can drive it better than them, like say they're a very new driver or amateur driver, and I can get in and drive it to how I drive it, and they're like, oh shit, I didn't know my car could do that. Right. Thanks for showing me. Now I'm going to try and replicate that. Like that's what I like to do. So jumping in everything and ripping it is just something like, oh, hey, I got a V8 S14. You want to drive it? All right, cool. Yo, I got a Mustang. You want to drive it? All right, cool. Do you
normally like, do you go you have them sit in their passenger seat with you and do that, or just
there's only been a couple of dudes that's just been like, here's my car, go ahead, and I'd be like, you don't want to go, and they're like, nah, go ahead, I want to watch you.
And the one thing that I do, and I've been away from the track, and I'm pretty sure, man, like if I rock up to the track, like guys, because a lot of the guys, man, are weird. Like I was talking about it recently with my wife. They'll see me in town, say nothing, and then we get to the track, and all of a sudden, because we're in the same area, they want to be like kumbaya. I'm like, yeah, not really. You know what I mean? You can't say what's up to me here. We're 45 minutes away from the area, and now it seems like it's I don't know. I guess I scare them or whatever. But I have had a couple of guys. They asked me to drive, And when I get in the car, they always ask me every time this happens. I get in the car, I don't get in the car and blast. The first thing I do is like I go left to right. I take the car left to right, see what it feels like. I brake hard as fuck, and then I use the e-brake, and I do all that like it's like a function check in like 10 seconds. And they look.
You do exactly what I do.
And they look at me like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Dude, I know everything about your car in 10 seconds, man. Like I know what it's going to do when I go hard left, hard right. I know how the braking threshold is. I know how soft your pedal is. I know your e-brake even works when it doesn't. Most of the times it doesn't work. And I mean, unless you're at speed, you know, you got the momentum and lock it up and everything. But it won't stop a big load. And I'm like, yeah, dude, all right, we can go now. And then I go like, you ready? Go right into it. Then they be like, they just hold on and they grab like, don't grab the e-brake, dude. Like just grab your thigh or put your hand in your pocket.
Put your hands like this.
Just put it under your arm and hold the ocean handle if you got it there. But yeah, man, it's one of those things, man, where it always I use it here, like I told you before, when I do customers' cars. It's not that their car is astronomically better, because most of the guys ain't doing anything to make their car power up, but it's just that they sit in the passenger seat and they never honestly push their car to that point. So when I take it for the test drive, that's a good selling point. He's like, oh man, yeah, it's all. I'm like, yes, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's what I always found cool with having open format drift events, which my area has a ton of. So I love that. Like we went to a track day. I brought Jalen and was doing grip in the RX-8. I was kind of getting myself back in the mix from having that crash from Laguna Seca, just to get back in the mix and get ready for this year. I just changed the tires, ready for track day next weekend. And so we were driving around, and then they were having an open format drift day on the other side, and I pull over there just so that Jalen can see some drifting. Like, it's always about drifting with me. That's always like my core.
Right.
So even when we're gripping, we go over to see the drifting, and then we know everybody. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm around. Oh shit, you're in your grip car, whatever. So animal style, Julian Jacobs. He's just trying out a Z33. He's doing development on the heat maker stuff for that, and he's driving it. He's enjoying it. And we pull up on my son. He's a huge fan of animal style, so he's like, "Oh shit!" And it's like, "Yo, isn't it cool, bro, that everybody you're a fan of, your dad just pulls you up to, you know them, you know what I'm saying? It's like you know these dudes that you're a fan of, and all your friends are fans of them, but you're their homie, you're their little homie, right? Julian like, oh, jump in the Z, go ahead, and I'm just like, I'm in grip mode today, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to drive a Z. I love driving Z33s and Z34s. I really love driving them because for a car, they just have it. They're just it. Enough torque. The transmission's short enough ratio. You can go through gears and you don't feel like a chump, like you're only staying in second gear, So I wanted to drive it, but I was just in grip mode, I'm like, man, I know I'm going to go over here, get to drifting, miss my next session. You know how we can get. You can get in the car and get carried away, and your whole day. Next thing you know, you've been over here for 2 hours, but you've paid for your track time over there. So, I like to always just pop up with the open format drift events. Guys are always like, "Yo, ride with me," and then you ride with them, and then they're like, "Yo, you want to drive?" It's like, "Oh, all right, I'll drive real quick just to show you something." I do a lot of volunteering for newbie drift events, like just getting started, point me in the right direction type events. And I do my thing. I watch everybody and I offer them some assistance. Hey, you're doing this wrong. If you could correct this, this is going to make the rest of this make sense. Go try this right now. And then they go try it and be like, oh, shit, okay. Yeah, that makes hella sense, but I just can't get this. And they'll be like, okay, do you mind if I show you something real quick? Right. Oh, yeah, you can show me something. Then you go, boom, bam. See, your car can do it. Did you notice what I was doing? I kind of did. Your steering was a little different than mine. Exactly. Go do that. And those are like the ways that I've gotten to drive, like all different kinds of chassis. And I do the same thing. I do the same thing as you. As soon as I'm driving up to the line, as I'm going straight, I steer it full lock. and back to full lock the other way, just to see how the car reacts and how far the steering angle is. And yeah, you just see where the clutch hits at. And then it's like, Sim, you can tell in the first 2 seconds when you floor it coming out of the gate, if it does a roll and burnout first or roll and burnout second, you're like, these are shit tires, or the car's really powerful, If it's like, whoop, just gripping, you're like, okay, this is about to be fun. I'm going to use the grip of the car. So, yeah, in like the first 5-10 seconds of you strapping into a foreign vehicle, it's just like data link download to give you what I need. All right, cool. What I mean? And that's what I love about being a driver, man. Being a driver, dude, it's you jump in a car, and especially if it's serious. Like when I did the track day, when I was gripping, and dude hit my car, and my buddy was like, "Yo, take my MRS out," and I'm like, "Ah, shit." This car is super set up. I know it's twitchy because it's a MRS chassis. Damn. Okay. As I'm putting my gear on and I'm strapping it in, it's just like, tell me what I need to know. Car's really fast, 6-speed. Your reverse is over here in case you spin out. Red line's $9,000. It's super twitchy and likes to spin out. All right, cool. First gear, pull to the grid. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, because I'm going to figure out the rest. Yeah. And then it was sliding around. I'm like, oh, I see what the car likes to do. It likes full throttle. If it does slide, you just do a little bit of slip angle, and let's just figure the shit out. Let's go fast. And I was actually going fast. I was kind of like 2 or 3 seconds off of his personal best. And that was the very first time I drove the car. So, I like that kind of shit. And I'm kind of trying to do the same thing with the motorcycles. But it's like, that has a different risk factor. Oh, yeah. I come up off this shit. That's kind of going to be the end of my day if I explode my cases and shit. Because when you fall on these motorcycles, you got to retech them, unless you got everything to fix it right then and there, your day is done. And with the cars, it's just like, hey, I spun off the track.
I mean, so like, spray out the wheels. Any fall, like if you fall at all?
If you fall at all, bike has to get reteched.
Wow, I know that.
Yeah, your levers are bent. You got another lever, replace it. You got a case crack. It's a little bit of an oil seep. You replace that, fix that, stop that leak. Does this work? That work?
So the guys bring like what? So what's that's I never thought. So what is typical? What's typical stuff that, like, say if you got a race day or a serious track day? What's typical gear and replacement parts that guys are bringing to the track with them?
So depends on how you want to gamble. If you're really going hard, right, there's a certain threshold that you hit. Right. Me, I'm just a weekend warrior, so I kind of come with nothing. I just don't want to drop the bike. I push it as fast as I feel comfortable, and that's it. It might slide nice and smooth off the track. But what if it touches tires on the track? The bike's going to go end over end in the air. You're going to bend forks. You might expel your tank. You might crush your tank. Subframe might break. So typically, you just got to bring the whole bike. You know what I mean? If you're going to be repairing it at the track. You could break your forks, break clip-ons, levers, obviously windscreen, fairing stay. Like, for these motorcycles to go so fast and do so much on lean angle and stuff, all of this stuff is super fragile. So you could definitely break everything really quickly. And it can take the stupidest thing. Somebody in front of you had a leak. Track day bikes race day bikes are required to have a belly pan. The belly pan holds fluid. If you have a leak dripping out of an oil pan or off of a case cover, it'll hold the fluid in the bottom. But if it's enough fluid and you're accelerating and leaning, it might spill. You might start a trail. I'm coming through banging and I'm looking through the corner and I don't see you got a snail's trail. Boop, my day's done. Yeah. I just got in your line and dropped down on that. Anybody smoking? There was this guy that was smoking, but it was a 2-stroke. So I said, oh, okay. Because when you see that trail of smoke, you look for a line. Where's a line? Because what's that mean? Oil's dripping. It could be smoking off their exhaust. It could be going back. I went to go buy another under 400 bike, this Cowie Ninja 300, And I'm like, yo, how's the bike? Dude's like, it's great, it's cool, it's this, it's that. I'm like, okay, cool. I go to check it out. The case cover's got cracks. There's oil all down the swing arm on the wheel and shit. And I'm like, you been riding this like this, bro? I'm like, this ain't fit for the road. Like, he's trying to, well, I know what I got. He's one of those I know what I got type guys. Well, you gonna keep this shit, bozo, because this is some bullshit. Like the case is leaking on both sides.
Hit him with
the oil fill cap is stripped, and he got like foil in it, trying to get a bite on the threads. It's leaking from that. I'm just like, damn. But when they tech your bike, if you have falls, those are the kind of things that can mess up. So that's why they retech your bike. Remember, I was telling you, if you fall during your track day, they don't get your bike till a specific time.
Yeah. So is that because it's a danger? Is this a hazard? And I figure like it's that many bikes.
For one, if it's in a spot where it is a hazard, right, they go and get it out the way. But they don't pick it up. So they'll go push it up the hill more.
Right, and you said so that's at the end of the day or just the inner?
You get it midday.
Midday, okay.
Or end of the day.
That sucks.
And midday, guys, if you fall in the beginning, say you go out first session cold tire, swam, your bike's sitting out there till 12, and day started at 8.
Fuck.
Right. So you're sitting there.
Go home and get another bike, man.
Yeah. Bring this one dude. He bring like 3 bikes, and he dropped. It was funny because he had an R3. He dropped his R3. That R3 was out there all afternoon, and he was riding his Ducati. I was just about to say that shit,
man. Motherfucker, bring 2 bikes. Like I know I'm gonna drop one of these motherfuckers.
Yeah. But when they bring it in, they retech it.
Okay.
Is everything good? Is everything straight? Here's how you correct this. Here's how you fix this. Go do that. Bring it back. And then if you bring it back and they feel that it's good, you can go back out with it. So, bike days are very serious. Like, I changed the tires on the RX-8 today. New tires, so I can go, because I'm still trying to chase down that record at Sonoma. There was gravel inside my wheel and tires from the Laguna Seca hit. You know what I mean? Because the sand and shit got in the bead of the rim and tire. But I guess when I went off with so much that happened,
pulled back a little bit.
And it went inside the wheel, so you couldn't hear it. It probably would have sounded like a Morocco. But when we went and pulled them off, the tires have Laguna Seca gravel in them.
Inside of them.
I'm like, oh shit, that's wild as hell. But bad, violent shit happens on crashes, and sometimes you get really lucky in cars, but on these, there's no luck. There's just, you have your gear on that'll hopefully protect you. And you get up, we're good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Fuck that bike.
Is there, are guys, I know the pros go through it because I see them. I know they're the pro guys or the all moto suits. They are, they kind of form to like have the leg is kind of formed. It almost has that bend in it. So is that?
Yes.
So do they have suits that are not?
My suits are hanging up right now. The suit hanging as it is in this position.
Right.
Your arms are in and your legs are bent.
Right.
When you get on the bike and you roll your shoulders in, it holds your arm. You walk around like Steve Urkel.
Got you.
And it really, you do have to put force to straighten your body out.
Got you.
It does. It's like a capsule, a shell, and it holds you like this. When you're sitting on the bike, it's doing a lot of holding of you together.
Right.
A lot of the new suits have airbags in them. So if something really crazy happens, any form of impact, you'll see those suits that have like lights on the forearm. You can do 3 or I think 2 airbag deployments, and then it'll retract once you've couple seconds. It'll bleed out, but it's to keep you from bouncing off the ground.
Right.
And, what was his name? Simoncelli, Marco Simoncelli. I think it was MotoGP accident 2005. Colin Edwards was coming behind him. Rossi is right behind him. They're coming around a corner, fucking jamming. Marco fell. He fell and his body's off of the bike because he just fell and he's sliding like this. Colin Edwards hits him in his back. Rossi hits him behind his neck. Boom. Knocked his helmet off. Severed. He's dead there on the track before his body stopped spinning. So that's where you get these protections the shoulders, that big ass fucking hump on your spine. Speed hump is good for aerodynamics, but it's also good for impact. A lot of guys that are really, really, really serious, chest protector and back protector in under your suit, and those airbags. You don't know how you're going to come off the bike. It's just the luck of the dice,
Right.
dude. You could come around the corner one day, same corner you've been hitting all day, fucking going hard. You could be doing nothing different, but ambient temperature is 20 degrees down. Your tire pressure was good for 20 degrees higher. The bike moved. You could do one or two things: low side and it's all good, baseball slide, safe. Or the bike could come down, the back slide out, and then catch and shoot you 14 feet in the air. And it's like that, bro. You're in the air like, oh shit. And remember, you're 14 feet up going 70. You can't run that out.
Yeah, you're gonna go. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna go up and like most. I mean, what's
you're
like off the track?
Yeah. But then again, you think about it. When you land, you're landing in a 70-mile-an-hour run. You're hitting boom, 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 and you're fucked up. Oh, let's just say Marc Marquez. He's broken his ankles off of a high side. The bike, he's leaned over, and then the bike kicks back this way. Remember, your pegs, and you're standing, pushing very hard down on those pegs. When that bike tips back the other way, those pegs are rigid. No matter how hard you're standing, it'll pop up and break your ankles. So there's so many things. You could just pull up Marc Marquez high sides. Marc Marquez probably has a compilation of high sides. He is the most high-sidedest motorcycle rider on the planet. Marquez, Marquez, I believe. And it's so many things. That's why all this gear is designed the way that it is. Your ankles need to be protected.
2001, 2021, 2019.
Yeah, just look up crashes. Just you can hit images. You'll see the still images of any high side. His ankles are destroyed. They're getting destroyed. The guy gets airborne. Look at the carnage. Look at all just the first two pictures is just pure carnage, man. So, that's why I'm taking my time with Jalen. It's like, let's ease into this. Let's ease the pace in. Go a little faster when you're comfortable. He had a crash. Look, what's gonna happen right there when he lands on his knees? He's going at least 70, 80.
You're gonna like smack your face.
Dude, check this out. He had an accident which put him out, which he's trying to recover from now. He had an accident where he high-sided, came off of the bike. And high-siding means exactly that, coming off of the high side. He's sliding across the ground. The bike comes in behind him. The front wheel is spinning. He's sliding with his arm out. The bike slides up to him with the front wheel spinning. That is a grippy-ass front tire that hits leather. It rips his shoulder down to his rib cage. So, all of these, look at that. Watch that video. It's very destructive. This guy, he gets hurt a lot. You don't know how you're coming off the bike, which is just look at his shoulder. Watch his right arm. Rewind that. Rewind it back to the beginning when he comes off of it. There's bike contact. The bike punted him right there. I don't know if they'll show it in slow-mo somewhere later on down the line, but just saying, so this is why I'm easing my son into this. He can have all of the natural raw talent, but I would rather him take it slow because, it goes behind the tree. They're going to change the angle. But the reason I would rather my son, you see how limp his shoulder is, right?
Yeah.
That is a broken-ass arm. The reason I'm taking it slow with my son, and that's because the wheel touched the top of his shoulder and it's rotating and it took his shoulder with it. So you don't know how you come off the bike. The best thing to do when you come off the bike is do like a rally crash. Pull your arms together and hold yourself at your core. And, I would rather take the slow route to my son having a blast See, he's sitting there pondering, did I just destroy myself?
Yeah.
Collarbone broke, shoulder
that fucking
broke.
shoulder ain't moving, man. It's just like,
Know what I mean?
yeah. And then like the adrenaline, like what's one thing about like, you've been hurt, I've been hurt before. Always like when in the moment when it happens, it's like something's fucked, but that adrenaline is like
system check. It's a system check
kicking
going
in,
right
and
there
then
and
like
there.
later that night, bro. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm 38 years old, 255 pounds, confident motherfucker, and all that shit. Man, I ripped my playing football after the play, running back to the fucking huddle. My fucking groin snapped, dude. Like it like
ain't that a bitch? Yeah.
After the play, I just like kind of stepped on a rock. God damn.
Look,
son.
now high side, right? High boy. Now the bike is coming around to him.
Yeah.
It comes behind the tree. Shit. There's another view. Yo, that bike rotated around to him and just, oh, here we go. And it just takes his shoulder off, bruh. I don't know if they're going to zoom in on it, but since you got it rolling slow, just watch. He comes off the bike. The bike is going to rotate. Now, look, he's sliding his arm. Now, watch the front wheel. Broken.
Yeah.
That was the bike punting him like that, bro. As it broke his arm.
I was about to say,
and
so
look how,
and there's no like
look how innocent that looked.
Yeah, and it's not like that's what I was gonna ask you, man. Are you teaching them like is it things you teach Jalen like how like when you fall, try to do this, but I mean, because like a lot the biggest thing like you say a lot of guys naturally human instinct you want to go like this or when you fall back. So snowboarding and everything like that's one thing I know how to fall, but sometimes that shit happens so quick and instincts kick in so quicker than you can think, and you're already like this, and
that's why repetition and practice is what prepares you. You don't know that you know how to save yourself in a crash. Yeah. The car shit, right? What's the worst thing that you could do with your hands in a car crash?
Hold on to that fucking wheel.
Hold on to that fucking wheel, or put your arm out the window. What if the car's rolling?
Yeah.
You just put your arm out the window to get snapped up, right? And when we're speaking with the wheel, when you're holding the wheel, that wheel goes, right? It pulls you and you just broken your thumbs or your wrist or something weird.
Right.
So like when you know that you're gonna crash, and it's like me with the Laguna Seca hit. I knew dude was coming. I'm like, he's gonna hit me. And I just floored it, and I'm looking, I'm like, just please don't hit the wheel, because I was deciding in my head, I'm going to have to let go of the wheel. I may not pull my hands back from it, but I have to let go of the wheel, because when that car hits it, it's going to pull the wheel tight, right, hard as hell. And if I don't let go, it's going to break my fingers, whichever fingers you got around the spokes of the rim. So those are the decisions that you got to make. And when you know it's a bad crash, put your hands on your seatbelt harnesses and just hold them until movement stops. Once movement stops, you decide if you're alive or not. and then you look around and wait for the dust to settle, because when I got hit, I was spinning and I didn't know where I was going to. And I was like, I know I'm close to the wall, so I just floored it. And I was hoping to not, I was just like, well, I'll point in this direction. I don't see brown, so that means I'm not at the hill. Let me try to just floor it this way. Because when the dust settles, then it's kind of like, okay, all right, I'm in a safe area. Is the car on fire? You start to go through your checklist. Do I need to get out? No. Okay, I can sit here until, it's safe. Or am I in a bad zone? Am I at the end of a turn where they're apexing out wide and they're going to possibly run into me? And if the car is really messed up, there's nothing that you can do. If your car is fully caged, you could say, okay, I'm just going to stay right here because this is my safest place. It's just so many things go through your head. On motorcycles, you don't have that option. You're off, you're off.
Right.
Pull my arms in, hold them in. I'm sliding, cool. I'm flipping, cool. I can't stop this shit. You could possibly try to see where you're going. But if you're tumbling and flipping, it's just sky ground. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You don't see nothing. Yeah. So as I'm telling my son, we're taking it slow. Like, yeah, he's going fast enough to drag me, but I'm not explaining to him how to drag me yet. Yeah. I'm just explaining to him how to manage track as he goes fast. When we're in the RX-8 and we're driving through the back roads, I'm explaining, look this way, look that way, stay here until you see clear there, do things like that. So I'm giving him the slowest route, but letting his excitement and eagerness show me where he wants to go. Then if he gets to a point where he's just really jamming, like certain times, it's like, damn, this kid's really jamming. If I do this, I'm holding him up. Okay, let's take him this way, but let me explain to him, you're really going fast. It can get serious really quickly at this pace. What I need you to do now is this, this, and this. I need you to pay attention to this and this. Don't do this. You've been doing that. That's going to cause you to possibly crash. Let's try to work on changing that. Do about 4 laps slow, because I know you can go really fast. After that 4th lap, decide how much faster you want to go. After that, then bring it up some more and keep bringing it up. If you stay off for 13 laps and you're just really fucking flying, that's fine. But step it up each time until you get to the point where you're like, okay, that's all I can do.
Yeah.
If he's making any types of mistakes that I think, like, hold on, he's got to get this because this is going to mess up his time, that's when I step in and be like, yo, stop right here. Let's talk about it.
And that's like that right there, man. It's like, one thing, teaching people something, man, it helps you relearn what you probably like not what it wasn't using. And like, it's weird because I went out to the beach and everything, riding a dirt bike, just like you're saying. And it's like, on a bike, you're out of position. Like, you should be, you need to be your for the dirt bike. I shouldn't have my heels on the pegs. It should be balls of my feet on the pegs. I should be arms at the 90. Even if I'm sitting down, they still should be like up here, not here. I'm like, that's how you whiskey throttle, and then you can't, your fucking shit just goes all the way back. So it's like, I'm just, all right, sit up, all right, scratch that one, come back around, sit up on the tank, slide forward, and all that shit, man. It's like, you gotta do that. And then like, with him being young, man, this is my wife didn't understand why I was getting on my sons for not braking. I'm like, they're gonna go faster, they're gonna go fast enough, and if they don't learn this brake concept now, and already they do whiskey throttling and run into each other and shit and everything, it's going to get worse when they go faster. You know what I mean? So this is now the time is to, and I think, and he's again in a good situation, because you're not gonna be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, you'd be like, nah, dude, why you, I remember when you was doing the U-turns and on a block, and you were like, dude, like you're not leaning far out. You're like, you're cutting it short, and you're like, nah, do that shit again, man. And you know what I mean? That's where that's the difference, even like in instructions and teaching, where some guys want their sons to get there, but they not. I'm like, dude, if you don't want to do it, get them to a coach or somebody that's going to do it, and get them squared away.
And that's the thing, because relating to him is the best way to teach him.
Right.
Because I know what he's feeling, because I sit here and watch him. This is my child.
Right.
I watch when he gets frustrated. I watch when he's extremely happy. And I watch when he's just really calm. So when he's just sitting there and I'm giving him instruction and he has the blank stare on his face.
Yeah.
If I'm like, yo, motherfucker, do you hear me?
Yeah.
That just changed everything that I just said before. Yo, motherfucker, did you hear me? He can throw that shit out the window. But I can sit here at this time and say, he's doing that blank stare that I hate, but I'm not going to say nothing about it.
Yeah.
You got me? You understand what I'm saying? Okay, cool. Go ahead and do it. And then when he goes and he does it, then it's cool. If he forgets something that I just told him, like he was shifting, he was, and he was shifting like that. I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't make you shift any faster. All that does is the bike has load on the rear, and you pulled that clutch in, and the bike lurched forward and then lurched backwards, which unsettled it, lifted the front. Like, that's how you clutch up a wheelie, right? But the bike doesn't have enough power to do it in third gear at that speed. So all you're doing now is just throwing the RPMs to the moon and then making the clutch slip like crazy to try to re-engage as we go, which doesn't give you any speed in this time frame. Makes you slower, and it sounds stupid. And every time you're doing that, I know the clutch is slipping. And I'm stopping you right here as soon as you did it. Don't do that. That's annoying. For one. For two, you need to learn the proper timing. Throttle on, throttle off, clutch in, clutch out, throttle back on. And you can do it as fast as you want. If you're good, it sounds seamless. If you're good, you can make it sound like a fucking Formula One car. Having it sounds stupid as shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, those are things, you know what I mean? It's like the bike's telling me what you're doing. Yeah. I know exactly what you're doing. And I've done it before.
And everybody in the grandstands is like, yep. Yeah. It's like, because motherfuckers be out there for sure. Like, I know you see it all the time. Like, because I know you see it because I remember back in the day when I had the K single over cam 240 with the open diff. I mean, I just knew I was killing it, man. And it was like one wheel. That shit was going in a circle, and one wheel was burning on the outside. And I threw it inside the car because it was all loud. I had the Megan dual muffler, and I get out and I'm leaning against the car like I just killed it. And they're like, this fucking clown, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, man. You know, and that's the thing. That's the thing though, too. Because I tell them, to you, that might seem like you're killing, you're having a blast. To me, that says stupid newbie squid worm moves. Don't do that shit. Nobody at the track is gonna be doing that. When work hard. We have a track to ourselves. Work hard. Let's work hard. And my thing is that effort, right? Put that effort in. Let's work hard. Here, we got it to ourselves. So when we go over there and it costs us 3 times as much as it's costing us here, you're good to be in the mix with these people. Like I told them, your first track day is going to be on this. I'm going to bring this, but it's just going to be sitting there. I'm going to watch you and evaluate you around this whole track. If that's your speed, there's no fault in that being your speed. You're a 14-year-old on a racetrack with grown-ass men on a damn trainer superbike. Nobody's going to laugh at you if you're on that. They're going to say, damn, look at this little 14-year-old kid in the mix, jamming.
Wishing that they were in that position at 14.
Right. Yeah. And so that's why I be telling them, don't think about what's sitting waiting, because those kind of things will make you fuck up the experience that you're getting right now. Experience the moment, get the most out of that moment. You do great and excel. We could try other portions of what we're working on, and you do great at that. And it's like, look, hey, that little fucking thing is going to hold you back. This is a good tool because you're familiar with it. Let's go to this track, see what the track is like. You see what it's like, and you're saying, yeah, Dad, I was trying, but, as soon as we come out of the corners, the party's over. Okay. Well, sir, welcome to the next level of the party. Yeah. You know what this motherfucker gonna feel like? It's goddamn fast. It's got 100 more horsepower than what you're used to. It's heavier. Let's go. Take your time.
He's gonna be,
and then build up.
He's gonna be better. Like, this is one of, again, young is a formula where you see the people who start young, man. It's like, because they don't have those habits. They don't have, like we talked about before. They're not approaching the face of a jump or an apex and thinking about, oh fuck, I gotta pull a ground beef out tonight. You know what I'm saying? They're not thinking about none of that shit. Yeah. He's thinking about school, the girl he like, and some shoes he probably want. But none of that shit's like, when he's on that bike, none of it's that big of a deal to even be in his mind. Us, on the other hand, we on that bike doing whatever, in the car doing whatever, and that family shit still is a big of enough deal to somewhat be in there. I mean, unless everything is squared away and, we caught up on whatever, and you can kind of release. And, I mean, for me, that's one thing. I'm riding a bike, man. I'm thinking about, I'm about to jump some shit, and I'm thinking about, I got to email this. Like, no shit. Like, I shouldn't be thinking about emailing nobody.
Adult shit. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because I got, but it is what it is. It's still fun. And it's I'm not thinking about it all the time, because I'll catch myself like, hey, man, pay the fuck. Because I fell one time, just for a second, man. Just getting what's it called when you too much front brake and you
Oh yeah, you low side.
yeah.
Blah.
So the wheel just came right downhill.
Popped.
Yep, came right out
Yeah.
and straight down. And I actually my hand like still to this day like something in between here the metacarpal or something like that.
Run your
Yeah,
shit.
it's like it's hard like
because it went down like that.
yeah, it like fell on the hand and I couldn't get it out and it's just I can still squeeze but something in between that bone right there is like it's fucked. But
yeah, you feel it.
Yeah,
that's what I was telling my homeboy. Yeah. My boy found an old laptop. And he's sending me hella footage, man, from like 06, 07 when I was going crazy. And I remember the incident, I remember the crash, but I only remember injuring this shoulder. This was the only, because the pain was so great, this was the only thing that I remember hurting that day.
Right.
30 minutes before that, I fucked this shoulder up. Why I kept stunting? Who knows? Ego, ignorance, moxie, whatever. But I literally only had enough power in this arm to hold it on the handlebars and pull the clutch. This was the only arm I was actually maneuvering the bike with. So when the bike went up on the C-standard and started tilting and going, I couldn't really control it because you would control it, you know, moving your body, get your shoulders together, and you straighten the bike out. When the bike started wiggling around, I couldn't control it because I didn't have any power here. This shit was a limp noodle. So when I went down, I knew I was going down, and instead of me having both shoulders to push back on and soak up the impact, I only had one. So when I hit it, it was like, boom, bow, blew my rotator cuff. And I was like, fuck. Yeah. You know, and I'm hurt, like, and I instantly felt it. I was like, I got no strength. I can't even hold my own arms up. Oh, shit, I'm hurt. And I just laid down. I was like, man, I messed up. I messed up bad. You know, but it's like those times you do something and you're like, this is going to stay with me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man, this one is one of those ones. Like, this is with me for a minute. And to this day, it's funny. I've been running up this hill on this hike, just trying to just get outdoors. Like my thing for this year is just more effort on in everything. So I'm like, let me put some effort into me. So I've been running this hill, and I got up to the top of the hill, and I'm doing jumping jacks. And every time I'm doing a jumping jack on that bad boy, it's like, clap, clap, clap. My shoulders are clicking and shit. I was like, damn, that happened in 06. It's 2022. My shit's still snapping and popping and crispy, crunchy, crackly, fucked up. I'm like, man, and those are things is why my seating position in the car is a certain way, because my shoulders hurt really bad if I do this. When I do these maneuvers, it's really fucked up. So I sit in a position that I extend my arms a little bit more than normal because I'm past that hurting point. There's a certain point on my arms where I can, at that point in time, I wouldn't be able to do this because my arms hurt. But I can do that now because I use different muscles around whatever I fucked up.
Right.
I've been messing around with these injuries for so long. I figured out how to get past them. But if I have to exert force in those extensions, it gets real difficult. So, you know, I don't want my son dealing with too much of that shit. So that's why I'm taking it easy for the wheelies in the streets and all of the stuff. I can teach him all of that shit straight away, but I'd rather take the progressive steps like, hey, let's learn how to really ride.
Right.
Okay, now you learn how to really ride. You got all the control on it. You want to see how to do a wheelie? It's like this. Why? Yeah. Now, when you try that, do this. Because we always have headphones in, so I talk to him every time we're riding. And I can just give him the instruction from there. But he has to master one thing first, and then move to the next, and then move to the next.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's funny that you said that, man, because I was, now that I got more like more experience riding a bike since we started talking about them and everything, and I remember like when I watch Let's Take a Ride, it's more, even though I don't do the street stuff here. Unfortunately, it's a different country, different things, and I'll be the only one in Japan doing it. You know, they kind of stand out that way. You know what I mean? When it's 50 of you, it's easy to blend in. But yeah, man, it's like, the biggest thing they were saying, Wayne was saying, was like, A lot of these dudes can do all the stuff, but they can't ride the bike.
Really, they
can't
off the
ride the
cane
bike.
ride.
Like they get to
That's
it.
so
They
real.
can't go up the steps. They can't go down the steps. They can't jump a little moat hill. Like they can't, do any of that stuff. And not saying, I mean, honestly, none of them out there doing like motocross. You know what I'm saying? But it's a dirt bike, and it's like you can do a lot of stuff on that bike. You could jump over a car if you know how to modulate the clutch and the throttle and the
right, right. You know what the bike is capable of doing, and that's what Wayne and them are actually talking about. Because if you aren't sure what the bike can do, and you're very unsure of yourself as a rider, when you see that set of stairs, and that set of stairs is your freedom, cops is right here, and that's a dead end, and there's a building back here, no alleys. I'm unsure if I can go up that set of stairs. But a rider's going to say, I'm giving it throttle. I'm sitting back a little bit more. The front's just going to glide and the rear's going to soak it. All I got to do is get that first step, which is a burr, and then you just...
It's like, like you said, it's something that they do all the time when you throw it up. They can wheelie, and it's like I mean... And I never rode up steps before. I never had a reason to do it, but it's like you essentially a little baby wheelie, get it to go this way.
Get the front wheel up.
Just go. Like you just see guys.
Because honestly, you know how stuff is. Something, let's just say this tall. Something this tall, if you ride straight at it with your wheel, boom, fuck you up. Right? Right? But if you ride straight at it and go right, and you just get the front wheel up enough to skim it, pew, that thing just fell, and the dirt bike suspension soaks about this far. It's got like this much travel. You're gonna go, that's done, right? I was showing my son, we loading the bike up on the trailer, and he's like, "Want me to get the ramps?" And I'm like, "We could, but look at this. You get up to it. This is just like a curb, right? Ain't no curves slow you down. You just can't hit the curb because you'll break your wheel. These are low profile wheels or tires, so they'll break the wheel. But you skid up to a curb, slow down, make that wheel touch it, and go, and the bike goes up it. So I showed him getting up on the trailer. It was about this high of a gap, and put the motorcycle wheel up on it. And you wouldn't think you're gonna hit stairs on a street bike, but if you got to, you just got to, you know what I mean? Shamar, he'll tell you, it's like, yo, when you learn this and you learn that and you could do this, you could do that, you do not fear that motorcycle or no terrain or anything. Like that video that they've been posting up is unfortunate. The cop jumped in front of the guy on some play chicken shit, and the guy hit him, boom, hits the cop going about 30, 40, messes the cop up, so the cop can't get to him. He's hurt. He's down. He's injured. But no man left behind, right? Now, these police went from chasing the pack
the one video when the dude hopped on the back of the bike and it was white.
That's why. Because the homie came through with the CRF like, give blood,
he's fucked.
Why? Pull up. The homie jumps on, and the cops are after this dude now. You've hurt their comrade. Now you picked him up. Now you're a marked man too. You better know how to ride.
That was the one that they had like the white cruiser. They were like white. I remember the trucks were white, and the dudes like did a U-turn and went.
Well, no, this new one. I'll send it to you. This new one. They're all Baltimore or Philly. They're East Coast cop cars, and you're dealing with. You're dealing with being marked. Dealing with being marked is a weird thing because, hey, I'm been in all these blocks. I come past all these other riders. Nobody's going to get chased. They're going to pass them to get me. When you're marked, it's wee going on. You know what I mean? So, that was a very interesting type of thing. But, yeah, so he hits this dude and he's got to get away. No man left behind rules are in effect with bike life. You should not be leaving anybody behind, as long as they ain't grimy. Now, if you happen to know this man killed somebody or you're a family member, leave, cuz let him deal with what he deal with. But if it ain't like that, bike life is bike life, yo. You pick your mans up, you pick your partners up, you get them to safety. And this is what they did. They did. This dude knew how to ride. He swooped in, let the homie jump on the back, and he took off and he handled the chase. The dude got on him. All the other cops chased him. And from what I heard, he got away. So these are incidences that could go wrong if you don't know how to ride. You got somebody jump on the back of your bike. He's now a passenger. You don't know how to ride with a passenger. Y'all gonna scrub. Because remember, now he's sitting on the back seat. You can't move your body positioning around. You can't jump forward and backward to keep the weight on the bike or make the bike handle a certain way. Mans is just right behind you, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you just got to know how to ride. And that's the best thing about knowing how to ride, being able to ride is... Give me the palm trees, goddammit.
Oak tree or the fuck, man.
Yeah.
I passed that shit. I passed it.
You passed? All right. You're brilliant, man.
Yeah, man. I passed it, man. It should be, it should be like, oh man, fuck this. I got login and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm my bad, y'all. I'm testing this thing out right there with the whole stuff. I'm gonna get it set up.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'll put the video in there. But yeah, man, that's just one of those things where even with the again, I don't know if you've seen the last video when I was Top Gear on a 125.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I was just saying like not even like 3 weeks ago, like I was still kind of intimidated by the bike, but it was hanging up, and I was driving, not driving, but I was riding the 450 and the 250 a bunch, and by riding those and getting used to that power now, and I get on the 125. As soon as I cracked, I was like, man, it's not that bad no more. You know what I mean? It still got that. It still has that 2-stroke bite that'll definitely. It's way more than enough power to mess you up. You know what I mean? Because this is actually a 135. It's bored up.
Yeah.
And that thing is like that thing, but it was like crazy that I was, and plus I was riding the KLX 110. So I've been putting like hours on different bikes, and is making the acclimation to different bikes different. So I think that's where a lot of guys they try to jump straight on the bigger bike, and it's 4-stroke, 2-stroke. Yeah. You do your own research on it. They all work differently. Because that's crazy. Like the KLX 110 is a 110cc, but it's 4-stroke, and 125 2-stroke, which is only 15 cc's bigger, is a whole different animal. Like a whole different animal. Whole different animal, man. Where I can crack that KLX 110 4-stroke, and like it ain't really. I mean, it can get out of control, but I mean it's controllable. So
4-stroke is a big displacement V8.
Yeah.
2-stroke is small displacement turbo.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how it works. I was looking at a documentary about the old days, the Widowmaker days of MotoGP. Well, it wasn't MotoGP. It was just called Grand Prix.
When they had the 500cc joints.
500cc 2-strokes.
Start making them, yeah.
Motherfuckers said they had all the traction in the world, but when those fuckers came on power, you would think you had plastic tires on the back.
That shit, when I was watching, I just went down a rabbit hole of 500cc's and the whole thing, and and then all these crazy. Of course, I ran across a 700cc one that was just nuts, and then
a demon, yeah,
and then the Travis Pastrana joint came up, the Armzilla, which was a dope ass name, and they had the little the rhythms, and he was chilling like back on purpose, and like, let me show you this power. Fucking in the whoops, like you're skimming them all. Like, god damn, bro.
Yeah, flying like 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour.
I'm like, bro, that's I mean, I can only imagine. I'm just getting used to the 125. I'm not even imagining a 250, 350, 400, and like I can't imagine
350, 400 2-strokes. Yeah. Right. Back in the and that was the 80s, bro. That's what I'm saying about the motorcycle. They made monsters. Yeah. We had monsters available on the street. Like, so, just to give you an idea of how manly the 80s were, this 321cc is 41 horsepower, 21 torque. My boy's 400 cc's, which is literally just 600cc difference.
Right.
Same weight, That shit has 65 horsepower and 40 pound-feet of torque. It's like night and day, dude. You know, these are way better chassis and they are certified fast going through corners. Those had shit chassis, soft suspension, but they were ballistic missiles for a little 400cc motorcycle. It's only 60 cc's more than this. So imagine a 400 two-stroke that was on the street that rev to 15 grand.
Yeah.
Man, when that thing comes on power, hold the fuck on, bro, because you might get left.
That's another thing. I was like, man, even with that 125 when I was cracking it, I mean, I was fucking, I was like, I was sitting, I was making sure I wasn't nowhere near the back, even though I mean, the sand. Well, I was on the sand, but it wasn't like it was wet, like kind of it wasn't frozen, but it wasn't like the you know what I mean. It wasn't to the point where I'm going that fast where I got it. Well, I was going fast, but I wasn't. You know, you see the guys they're all the way on the back of the bike. They like they as far back.
Yeah, sitting hella far back. Yeah.
To keep that the traction down, and they like moving around. The dudes doing a MotoGP and all that shit. But it was weird. The weird thing was when I watched the video back, is you can see where you shift at because the line gets like really
Yes.
It gets really thin, and then when you
faint,
when you crack it, it widens out. I'm like, man, that's crazy how you can see that. So you can see if you're like bitching up, and I could see where I was letting off, and I was like, I could see where I was committing, and the line was wider and everything, man. So crazy stuff, man. Like in the bikes stuff, what I'm learning, seeing, it's more apparent than I think in cars when you say, I think something's wrong with the bike, and then you hand it off to your guy, and he go rip that shit, and like, nah, it's cool. And you be like, nah, I just suck right at the moment and everything. And the dude, I was like, man, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, you got to shift up. He was like, I was hitting I was winding it out too far and not shifting up, and I thought it was misfiring. He was like, nah, you got to shift up.
On the limiter,
you got to shift up and go, you got to go to the next gear and go faster. So, yeah, man, it is what it is, man. But hey, man, switch gears on that real quick, man, because I don't want to hold too much time. Because you got to get to it, man. I did hit you up, and I was like, what's up? How do you, the whole Kenguchi thing and FD? I watched a little video. I'm not sure if he's going to do some rounds. I'm thinking he's going to do all of them. But do you think he's going to buy? Have you heard anything else different, or is he just going to do some rounds?
As far as FD Japan you're referring to, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, Ken's got the connections. He speaks the culture. He speaks the language. Yeah, he is of the culture. I'm very sure that FD is now like just the global scale. He just
walks in because he already got.
You can kind of, because he's already judged over there. Right. He knows the players. He knows the drivers. He knows the teams.
Right.
He's got relationships with the shops. Very sure Daigo is somebody who'll build him a car.
No, he already got. He's Kazuma. He's already set. He's driving. It looks like he's driving the twin of Andy's car. Andy's the Lexus something. So he already.
He's been driving his
Super
Altezza out here for a street car with a sequential trans, and I think that's kind of been getting his practice in for a 4-door chassis out there.
You already know he just show up and strap in, man. He's
already drive.
Good on that. Yeah. So he's running with Kazuma Power Vehicles, and that whole setup and everything. And it's weird because he's Japanese, but it's like and it's kind of like the same thing with Daijiro. It's like he's been in America for so long that people don't know, right? No, they don't. Until they see the flag, it's like,
as an American.
Japanese.
Yeah. And, so that leaves Van's exit, Dai's exit.
So what do you think? Denofa?
Everybody else, Denofa's in it.
I'm talking about we jumping way forward, man. But I'm looking at who you think going to take 2022. With the Osbo. Unless
James Dean comes back.
Yeah.
Osmo's too tough because he's too consistent.
Yeah.
So you may have a stellar round out of Chelsea. Super exciting. But he may stand on top of the podium, but Osmo's going to be right by his side, second place.
I think Osmo. I think it'll be Osbo and we who is it? Fields.
Matt
Yeah,
Fields
Matt Fields is looking.
is on a
Yeah,
tear.
he's looking pretty.
He's got his vet dialed. There's only a couple of reasons I could see why Matt shouldn't podium every single event. He's got it in him. He's got the mentality, and he's got the car, and he's got the tire. So it's just going to be a season of, can I replicate last season and better the things that I fell short at? If he does that, no problem. But again, you've got Osbo, you've got Denofa, but Matt seems to have the aggression, the wildness to handle Chelsea. The other thing is Matt is a very small team. He is a professional team, but he's a very small team of homies that know that car. Osbo has a fucking team of professors and engineers and perfectionists.
She remind me of Ivan Drago from Rocky.
For sure. Right? So you got the homies getting this vet taken care of. You got the conglomerate making sure this goddamn Supra is top-notch, top order. They went into the wall. He goes into the wall. They're going to make sure the wheels are straight and the car revs up to the rev limit. They're going to make sure the car is back to 100% perfect and may not have the body panels on it. You know which one's going to be easier to drive. You know what I mean? So that's just how this game is going to go. Again, I'm not seeing any players coming into the series that's going to really shake anything up. Who's going to be mid-season ringer? Not sure.
Already got a good idea who's going to be rookie of the year.
Mike Powers is coming in as a rookie. Who else do we got coming in as a rookie?
Is Brewski moving up?
Because
I mean,
is Brewski?
Yeah, because that's a good. Actually, I said that. That's even though Mike's our guy, if Brewski moves up, then it's just kind of going to be. That's going to be a battle between him and if Brewski moves up, it's going to be a battle between him and Mike for rookie of the year. Brewski got to move up, man, because that's 2 in a row, man. Like you kind of, he's going to win again.
That was 2 seasons, right?
2 seasons in a row, yeah.
He got champion 2 seasons.
So yeah, I mean, shit, man, we need to probably get him on again, man, because we talked to him at the end of the last championship. So probably get him on and see how this year went, because I didn't talk to him all year. I sent him a few well wishes and everything, and I need to, and I see Jonathan changed to the Corvette. Hurst, he changed to the Corvette, and then and a few. I mean, I really honestly haven't been keeping up with the off-season moves, but man, we about to. It's fucking like you say, man. It's January in Japan.
We should see stuff because I mean, even if you go to FD's website, you got coming soon for drivers. They don't have, petition drivers coming in yet. You don't know. We don't have a solid list of competitors coming up yet. So, only thing you can assume is pulling up last season's finals standings. You're going to look at the guys and be like, oh, this guy's going up. We know Mike's going up. If Rutsky goes up, cool. You just never know how it's going to go. Who's new coming in that won their license going into FD Pro Spec? Because kind of my target is set on Pro Spec to see how guys are going to perform there. It's going to get to... I think, I just think that these dudes need a shakeup.
Where can you see the driver stuff at?
Go all the way up to the top. See top right. You got just hit that. And you should be able to see drivers standings. See hit the hash lines there on the right under pro. Yeah, there you go, drivers. Now, that's going to be coming soon, but I think you could change the year to standings. Yeah, you could change the year and get the previous season. The series needs a shake-up. The format is cool. The judging is cool. Series needs shake-up. Our old guys are leaving. Most of the dudes that are just mid-tier, staying mid-tier. I was really hoping for Jeff Jones breakout last year. We didn't see that. Odie is just going to be top tier, looming around the top 3 all the time.
Yeah.
Well, let's scroll back to the top. So okay, look at Jeff Jones and down.
Yeah.
You know, you got Essa, you got Jones. You've just got the same guys there in the mix. I want to see. I don't want to see a lot of drivers.
So, what do you think about the whole, Adam joining with their team? As far as his results are going to be, a little bit better. I think a little bit better because he has support. Because the thing here is like
Adam drives more than everybody.
Right, and that's all. Bro, you just see Kenji Manawa's son, 12 years old, and I looked at it, and I gotta say, man, I'm like, fuck, man. You know what I mean? It's like, but I know my grind, but it's like, dude just got picked up by Cusco, 12 years old. Cusco driver. The thing is, as his dad's like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get picked up by Cusco. You know what I mean?
Dude, keep it funky. I would love for my son to be a thrash racing driver, right? I've been keeping a lot of stuff under wraps about my son driving, but once he gets to, like, we've got Super D Mahan coming to the desert, right? Or Super D Matsuri coming to the desert again in November. My goal is myself and my son tandeming going into the 23. My son will be 16. Nobody can tell him no at that point in time. It's up from there. It's up and it's stuck for everybody. We're going to try to sneak in a couple of tracks that we can this year. He's just going to be breaking 15. But once he can go everywhere, we don't got to ask nobody shit. Bro, it's up for everybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? We don't get those great opportunities to bust out and do some driving like the Japanese guys do. They're really young kids are out there really ripping. If I show my son ripping on certain tracks, they'll ban us. So, I kind of got to not put shit up. But I would love, to put my son in a position on certain brands, especially brands that he loves, that he really likes, that he really uses. Like, literally, I love thrash racing stuff. My son loves thrash racing stuff. Yeah, my son loves thrash racing stuff. His whole car, the Vert, is going to be outfitted with, we got the seats here, we've got steering wheels. I'm trying to make some specific products that's right up our alley. For everything, but yeah, that's a FIA certified seat right there. So there's not going to be like, oh, you come to this track, you can't use this. Yeah. That car is going to be able to do any track that we go to, any tech that we go to. He's going to be good to go. And these kids they're the wave. My son doesn't even care about competition. He's just in it for the art. That's the love of it, right? But who knows? He can get on the level of whoever, and if he decides.
My bad, Robbie just hit me up. I gotta just hit him real quick. Nishida.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The OG. Like at Winter Jam, I'm hanging around with Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer slapping battle version stickers on all my shit. He think he's slick. He's slapping them under my wing, on my windows, on the bikes, on the bus. But again, Alex knows my son, right? He's laughing and like, what the fuck? Why is your kid riding an R1 and you're riding an e-bike? You know what I mean? But he knows my son's talented. He knows he can drive. He's telling me, I'm gonna take your son out on the track, and I'm like, no, Alex. And he's like, no, I want him to drive with me. And it's like when
Jalen got back, get him on, man. You gotta get him on the podcast, man.
Alex Pfeiffer, yeah, I already talked to him. He said he's down. When Alex came back in, I asked Jalen, I said, who drives better, Alex or your dad? He said, you. I said, all right, cool. But the thing is, right, Alex knows Jalen.
Right.
So Alex doesn't make battle version shit for everybody. He just makes what he makes. If Jalen says, yo, Uncle Alex, I need everything that my dad has on the back of his FC on my FC, Alex will be like, all right. See what I'm saying? These are the relationships. This is the nepotism that I want to give my son in this motorsports.
Yeah, and it's all it's very vital and important, man. It's like, and that's one thing with this. We always got to bash social media a little bit, but the people just think that they're like in, it's because they social media and how easy people get connected is even having an issue with me. Like, I'm a guy in Japan, blah blah blah. I hate like kind of introducing myself as a pro driver, shop owner, but I feel like I gotta do that because it's a separation between like all the other goals. Like, hey man, how's it going? Because again, I know you say you get those messages like, hey, what's up? Or dudes just calling you out. I get that a bunch, and I don't answer the. Email me. Like, I don't do any business on there, and like, like just call me at 12 at night. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too that social media shit makes it too like accessible, if it makes sense. So now,
it makes everybody your next door neighbor come in and ask for a cup of sugar. Right. That's what it.
And like, to be able to introduce him to Alex and those things is like yeah, you don't rate. Well, you say in the military, you don't rate that because like it's not your pay grade, but it's like you don't just shake my hand and be like in the in crowd. It don't. Fortunately, the world don't work like that. I know it, you know it, and so until they extend that offer to do something, is just what it is. You know what I'm saying?
And that's exactly the point. That's exactly it. A lot of people really make that mess. They miss the mark. I met him, so I'm about to hit him up for everything that he has to offer and try to ask for a hookup because I just met him. But I've known Alex for years, and I bought Alex's stuff. I didn't say, hey, Alex, let me get a hookup on your stuff. I went on his website, and I bought his stuff. He didn't know who he was selling it to, but I bought it. And we're good. Hey, what's up, Alex? I can call him anytime, but I got your shit on the back of my car. I didn't ask you for the hookup. I bought it, though, right? And then I'm using it. And I'm busting ass with it. I'm like, people are like, how does your FC move like this? My rear end is battle version, and this is what my alignment is set up at. They're like, what the hell? That's really strange. Your FC doesn't move like an FC, but then again, it does because it picks up speed like one. It does this and that. And I'm like, oh, we got this going on. But I have my son around me all the time, and when we're at events, hey, Jalen, go take my car, go set those cones up. When people see my car start up, they're like, oh. But then it's Jalen driving it. And then they be like, what the fuck? Yeah. It's like my kid drives. When we're up there, I'm doing the announcing at Winter Jam, and I'm announcing an event. We're having a blast. And Ryan Latane, Brian Eggert, and their new dude, Chris Yule, they're like, yo, you're fucking good, dog. Why don't you announce? I'd be like, nobody's giving me the opportunity to. Y'all do, right? And y'all see every time we do this, I rise to the occasion. This is the second year in a row, third time that y'all are like, yo, what the fuck you need to announce? So then I'm like, tell Jared to let me shadow him. That's a good idea. Tell Jared to let me do Pro 2. We'll bring that up. You guys are telling me that I should do it. Okay, so make a way for me to do it.
Because it's a couple of phone calls and that can... You know what I mean?
All y'all gotta do is say
y'all all in the same group. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like, and that's the thing about it, man. Shit take as long. Like shit don't take nothing takes as long as just how
it's the timing
and the priority things. Yeah. And I gotta tell guys this all the time, man. I had a guy that he bought a car through me, was a good customer, and he hit me up like randomly, and it's something small, and he But he didn't grasp it. I'm like, yeah, it's something small, but you didn't pay me for the service. You got your car, everything was kumbaya with that shit, good to go. But it's that transaction's done. So they think it roll over into something else. And it's like, man, like, no. I got what I'm doing right now is important, man. What I got my schedule for this is important. So it's just one of those things that there where a lot of guys don't realize, man. It's not that it can't happen. It's just, the timing, and then also, it sucks, man. But like they go like, what they gonna get out of it and stuff like that. So people just.
But that's just how it is. But then also because I'm not for me, right? I have my fun exactly how I want to have it.
Right.
I'm super glad that these people in FD staff that are higher up know me,
Right.
think of me for certain things. But I always have my son next to me. Now they're very familiar with my son anytime they see him. And my son ain't shy. I love this out of my son. I wasn't like this as a kid. My son walk up, hey, what's up? Woo, woo, woo. Then they be like, oh, yeah, Jalen, what's up? You know what I mean? I never had that. My son has it, though. But now, when I have him around everybody, and when, yo, that's your son? I'll be like, yeah, last time I saw him, he was like this big.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, now he's a full-ass teenager. And when I say, Jalen, go do this, what they see me, like Ryan Latain was looking at my R1 and like, God damn, that thing's beautiful. And I'm like, yeah. And then he looked at the tires and said, oh, yo, you ride. I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, shit. So you, woo. But then when they were walking through the pits, I was busy, but my car was there. And they were eyeballing the shit out of my car for hella long. Brian Eggert knew this was my car. He's like, that's Lex's car. They're like, really? He's like, yeah, no. And he gets down. See, Brian knows. Brian Eggert knows. Ryan Latain has seen me around FD, but now he's seen me outside of FD.
He's Canadian.
And he's in my
Canada,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he's in my home turf and everything. So he sees me at home and he's like, damn, this fool hella chill. So when my son starts doing the thing, oh, this is Jalen King. This is Lexis King's son. And I heard he could rip. A lot of people are telling me he can rip. Let's see how he does. Now that just sets him up. All Jalen got to do is what he's supposed to do, drive and drive good. Now he's got whomever on the PA mentioning him, special interest focus on him, which makes people say, hold on, let's see what little man do. What's he do? See, my job is done. I just put my son in a position where all he has to do is rise to the occasion. I'm not asking anybody to do anything for him. I just want them to know who he is because he's been around. They're familiar with him, right? And that's all my job is to do. So I train him to be great, put him around things. If he has the courage enough to talk to people, ask people stuff, that's on him, right? But when he comes up, his name comes up, a video pops up, they say, damn, that's Lex's son.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, he out here doing work. And then, because you know it's bound to happen.
Yeah.
He's gonna take this car and go do great things with it, and people are gonna say, he's driving his fucking dad's car. And we know that thing's a certified ripper. So what can he do in it? If he's anything like what he's showing to be, people are about to be like, oh, shit. You know, when he's driving the RX-8 this weekend, he's just tall enough that I don't have to move the seat just yet. See, the RX-7 seat is a little shorter, is a little closer, so he's tall enough for that now. The RX-8, I've got back a lot further, and he's tall enough to get all the controls of the pedals, but you know when you floor that shit, your body moves back and move you off. He get the because he's just short enough that his foot moves on the pedal, but he's very close. But when we go to Sonoma, I know my boys are gonna be like, yo, I bet your son could beat you, and I'm gonna be like, oh, let's see.
Let's roll.
Go ahead and drive. Go ahead and drive, son. You know, and my whole job as a parent is just to put him in position. Can you do it? Are you sure? Okay, go do it then, son. And take your time, because we're not setting records, right? We're not setting lap records. Right. We're just go do it. Show that you can get around the track, and then show that you can get around quicker. And then the faster and faster you go, the more you stay out of people's way, the more you get out of ways of things, people will know competence.
Yeah.
So, you know, it gets to that point where that's how dude, I'm watching Mad Mike and his son.
Yeah.
And you saw Mad Mike just let his son just rip on the Summer Nats, right? And it's just like, that just made me more motivated. I'm like, yup.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not as balling as Mike. I don't have as much support or sponsorship as Mike. I don't have the access to that shit. But what I do have, I'm going to use. I'm going to use the fuck out of it. And all of my last 4, 5, 6 blogs, the style has changed, if people have noticed.
Yeah.
It's more centered on my son.
Yeah.
I might narrate. I might be behind the camera talking, but the camera is on my son.
No, man,
it's over for me.
It's no,
you know
no.
what I'm saying?
I seen some of the comments, man, and it's like it's weird that we're kind of both doing the same thing because it's like you seen on my channel, the kids, and the thing is, shame, hey man, we bought that shit, we bought the clothes, like, hey man, give me some views, and like no shit, man, like no cap as a young people say, dude. I started doing the videos. I haven't gotten a check from YouTube in a while because the analytics is whatever it is. But dude, I got like $150 since
get to run up.
Yeah, dude, I got the numbers up, and then like you just put kids in there, and it's like other parents out there. Like, oh, let me see what other, because I did the same thing. Let me see what other dads are doing and stuff like that, and then like that's how those views go up. And the I know, like I said, I know Mike was like, nah, man, it's like fuck them kids. And everything, but he's like, I know he's joking, man.
But did you notice though? I'm cussing my ass off.
Yeah,
I'm being me.
Yeah,
but I'm showcasing Jalen.
Yeah.
So fuck
bro, when he dropped that bike, man, and his legs went there, I was dying laughing. I was like,
hurry up, nigga, get that motherfucker up, pick it up.
Yeah, because it's like like he fell, but then he fell, like he like.
He fell. But it's and this is literally our everyday. This is absolutely what we do, camera on or off. But the thing is I have to remember now, cut the camera on because we're doing something that somebody wants to see. Let it roll.
Yeah.
Because this is literally our day to day. When we were riding around and I said, hey, Jalen, stop right here. He's like, what? I said, have I ever showed you a drag launch on a bike? Nah. I was like, okay, you do this. Rev it up, sit there, wait. You look, you ready to go, ready, whoop, half out, wah, boom. And he tried to do it and he hit his nuts.
Ooh.
And I made sure I put that in. He said, I hit my fucking dick. And I was just like, that's hilarious. Right?
Yeah.
But it's like those are the things I'm leaving in because this is really our day-to-day life. And my son doesn't cuss like that, but he's a little kid and everybody cusses at him when they're playing these video games. Then I'm sure he'd be letting cuss words fly. But I do. I cuss and I cuss directly at him. Right? But it's just like I don't be mad at him. It's just I cuss. And so it's like, okay, well, this is now doesn't have to be a kiddie channel because you're 14.
Yeah.
But so now this can just be a real channel.
And also, like, for people that are watching, like, you ain't check that, is that box is like, clearly, this is not for kids.
Not for kids.
Because
all of my videos.
I tried it because I didn't cuss at all. And, but it demonetizes.
It'll stick you in the kids category. Did you know that?
Yeah, and also the comments are off.
Yes.
No comments.
If you make your video for kids, you're in that category.
Yeah.
You're now there.
Yeah.
And if you try to switch to, you could put the video not made for kids, they still got you in the kids category. Yeah. It doesn't move you. So that's why I've never made, this is for kids. Even if it could be my funniest video about Nicole with Peppa Pig playing on it. No, this is not for kids.
Because kids is strictly like education. The peppy guy and like all of like the baby shark.
I hate that motherfucker.
It's me, Peppy. But what I wanted because the dude, he got money, so he bought the little blue like a Gallardo. It's like this is a blue Gallardo, but it's like I want to see like because a couple of families got like straight they can't do it no more because they the staff came out and said they were like verbally abusing people, hitting the kids and. Like do the shot over, like behind the scene, like shit, like
shit
when I'm watching like the, that's just my mind when I'm home watching it because the chicks look, you can tell they got the little teacher look and everything, but like off the camera, like who they banging the grips, they banging the camera, dude. Then they come up, I
got you. I see what you're saying.
Like, After the shit cuts, like man, hey man, what the fuck you doing over there, dude? You fucking up Peppy.
Shorty got OnlyFans on the side doing wild shit. Yeah.
Hey man, run that shot again, man. Because that dude, like, not knocking his hustle, man. Like he he found this thing, you know, but it's kind of
the blippy
yeah,
cat.
a little bit. It's kind of weird to be honest, but you
Mm-hmm.
know,
It's so strange.
yeah,
My daughter looks at
it
that.
gives
I be
me
like, yo, what the
yeah,
fuck are
yeah,
you
yeah.
looking at?
It kind of gives me that. Now I'm not saying he is Blippy, you know what I mean. Hit me up if you're trying to be on a
Yeah, I
podcast.
know what you're saying.
But
You
it's
ain't
like
even gotta say
it got
it.
that.
That's the first thing I
It
thought.
got that kind
Yep.
of predator
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
hey kids blah 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 yeah
It's definitely when you're being a parent and
yeah
you're looking at what your kids are looking at, and it's been many times. I'm just watching it the whole time with my daughter, and I'm like, this dude is freaky,
yeah
yo.
yeah yeah
And
yeah
it's
yeah yeah
like
yeah
I'm looking at my daughter, and I'm like, yeah, let's kind of knock this off. Let's watch something
yeah
else.
and,
Cause it's like, yeah, nah,
and
dude,
yeah,
freaky.
you seen that shit going around too, where like they got like they had a list of like kid shows, but they were putting like messages and shit inside
All of them,
inside
yeah.
if you really watch it. Because I mean shit, if you bring up like when we was watching, to us we watch Looney Tunes, if you run that shit back now, that shit can't play. Like the shit they were doing with like Ren and
Bruh, no.
Stimpy and like he was sawing his ass and like
Yeah, and he was thrusting
yeah
crazy in his cheeks. Yeah,
yeah
nah,
like
a
you
lot of that
can't,
shit is
and we didn't think nothing
way out
about
of
that shit
pocket.
back then. Like you know it was you know in the Princeton it was a different culture, man. Like nobody really thought like that. And now with all this transgender, this and this, like now they doing the fucking. I don't, do what you want to do, man. But now you got the superheroes got to be gay. You gotta. I mean, man.
Well, everything's all inclusive.
Yeah,
So all inclusive
yeah.
doesn't just mean, hey, when we come around to it, mention it. All inclusive means now, hey, where can we get something in?
Even in this.
Get them in there.
Right.
Rescue Ranger. You gotta be in.
Even the shit where we're two black guys, full of black tribe, and it's like the whole like the whole shit behind it, the black James Bond and the black this and the black. I'm like, bro, just leave the shit.
Why?
Just leave the shit. And then like the women, then they gotta have a Jane Bond. I'm like, dude, no. You know what I mean?
No,
it's been
like
James.
the female Ghostbusters.
It's been James Bond. Yeah, I didn't even watch that shit. Won't even turn it on.
A lot of dudes didn't.
I didn't. No, I didn't. It was no reason to do that. You know what I mean? Call me what it is. I love my wife, but I don't need to watch that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? I got 3 daughters, so knock that shit off.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's nah, man. It's some shit that's need to be left the fuck alone, man. You know what I mean? It's not. Everything don't got to be made to make everybody feel participation trophy in the conversation.
Doesn't have to conform.
Yeah. Everything. I'm like, bro, come the fuck on, man. Like, Kesley, the Rawlings chick who still ain't hit me back up is like like I don't think there's any females in the Pro 1, right? Or the Sorensen, she's Pro.
She's Pro 2, Pro Spec.
Pro Spec. So speaking of that, man, goddamn, mine is going 1,000 mile per hour because I gotta get out of here, man. We mentioned last year, so how's that prospect timeline looking? Far as the you got to be all linked by this point, and you got to be no transmission, so that timeline is still there, correct?
Oh, they're still these more things are implemented now.
All right.
I think they had a time frame of 2 years for a lot of the stuff.
So we're almost there. We're almost there for the.
People. It's 2022. Next year, you better have everything together.
Right.
Literally everything better, because I think that rule book was for 2023.
Yeah.
I do believe.
So like you gotta have prospect, gotta have H patterns and some shit like that.
You better be exactly what is written. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Hey, it's making it easier.
It's
making it easier. Cause like I said, I'm still planning on doing a voyage over. I'm not doing a petition because there's nothing to petition. Because like I said, I got my pro license 5 years ago. 5 years ago is a long time ago. As far as motorsports and everything, and like my car that I have currently, both of them, I can run like I can run lights, D1 lights, and I can run like MSC, but I couldn't do that. I couldn't do FD any of them. I couldn't do D1 above D1 lights. So it's still a thing where you can kind of roll in anything, but like far as the road, like bolt-ins are no longer legal here. You gotta be weld-ins. So that's the biggest thing, man, is when you take a hiatus and you come back, like all your shit's outdated, man, for a little bit. I mean,
because the only thing that if I was to compete in any of the comps here, only thing I need is to get my seats, belts,
Yeah, up to parent. Yeah.
I have a factory fuel tank and stuff. Uh, I would need to change a couple of things and go from there.
Right.
But but then my thing would be like, do I want to depart this car from what it is and make it to
Yeah,
something
and that's why you
else?
see guys building that
No,
car.
you know.
It's not. It's
So
yeah. It's one of those things where like you just kind of. It's not.
yeah,
It's just leave it alone. Get a new chassis and
yeah.
everything, and
Get a new
yeah,
chassis. Yep.
because it's just
And guys have been offering me RX-8s and things like that, and it's like, yeah, I would do an RX-8. I'd build an RX-7 REW motor. I'd put it on whatever freaking dog box I can get. I'd make it 500 wheel horsepower. I run it on 255s and build a firewall, rear mount radiator. I would do it. It would be a car build that I would do currently for myself to be competitive, would be a car of this time and measure, but it would look like straight saucy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing the ride height that
right.
all these other dudes are doing.
You-
I'm
you
keeping
gonna-
it street.
By the time I
But
turn
it-
the thing on, and it might have like I'm like a dreaming when I swear, man, when I turned that thing on and I seen Forrest Wing next to who was it, man? It wasn't JTP. It was that was after. But I was like, man, this shit real.
You're talking about in Long Beach.
Yeah. It's just,
Yeah.
It seemed like
Super Drift
I
Battle.
turned it right on. It seemed like, is this a rewind? Like they have somebody crash? Like, no, that's
Bro, me and Forrest
I
were
don't
having a
believe-
conversation at Winter Jam, and it's just like, cuz thank you for being you.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, yo, above everything else, you do what the fuck it is you want to do, and you do it how you want to do it. Like, I hate when you champion somebody, and I shouldn't say hate.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. But I just be like let down when you champion somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, he keeping it 100. And then he be like, yo, I got to do this because I want to do this. Then it's like, no, you can still do
you don't
this,
have to be nothing.
but keep it like this, right? Like, yeah, if I built an RX-8, if I had to have a quick change in a dog box, fine. But that RX-8 is going to look like my RX-8s that I have. You know what I'm saying? It's going to come through swagging. Now, how do I make this work? I don't know. But am I talented enough to make something happen? Yes. If it gets to the point where it's like, okay, we're really being held up because of this, or when I do a quick hard transition full lock, then it binds up on here. Okay, fix this problem, but how close can we keep it to this? Oh, well, we got to see this much daylight under the
Yeah,
man.
that shit right there,
Like,
right there. You know that's false because you look at
Mhm.
you look at DMCC, you look at Drift Change, you look at
good-looking cars.
FD Japan, you look at D1 still. They got
Well, FD Japan has got
they got. So what they're doing in that what they're doing is every series is following like the top guys. So whatever the top guys are doing, you see that trickle down. So you're seeing everybody with the what you call it. And in theory, you can see like it is. They got some merit because when you transfer and transition this power that car, then they got the light rear end and this tube stuff and blah blah blah. But then you look at certain again, you look at the other series and everybody's kind of they different stuff. So you look at all this, the New Zealand, Australia, UK, they all got different flavors.
Everybody got different styles, yeah.
Little different styles, man. And this season coming up, man. I know we speak more on FD. I kind of don't want to because FD is kind of becoming like UFC, if that makes sense.
We gotta look at
the Russian thing,
Irish
the
boys.
Irish boys, Dean and them
the
are doing
Irish
their thing.
boys, the RDS. That's where shit is getting crazy at. What a dude happened last year while he's drifting, he caught the whole car on fire and kept going and was shredding, and his car was melted by the time he came across the line.
The reason I'm looking at it too, man, because it's I alluded to I'm watching motocross now. Like this shit's like I'm into it, man. Like I haven't missed around yet. So Anaheim 2 is coming.
I wanted to go to Oakland because Stan and everybody was there.
They did?
Yeah, they were there,
Bro,
but I was just a little too busy.
But that shit, man, like this is like everybody's saying it. This is the perfect time for anybody to get into motocross because now the way social media is moving, almost every other rider has a the channel. So you're getting to see like they never seen they never got to see the inner, like obviously there's some stuff they can't record, but you're getting to see the inner workings, and you get to get the ride along with the rider, and you start to like you build and it's like it's a great way to build a base. You get to, even if you don't do well, all your comments like, hey man, you made the main event.
Yeah.
And like, the dude finished dead last, but he still had everybody in his thing like 300 comments like, hey man, next time you get him, blah blah blah. 17 weeks, and it's a cool thing, man, where like, I mean, like if you're not if you're not monetizing yourself now, like, and you're a pro writer, like you're missing out, man, because
you're missing out on a lot of supplementary income.
The company's not
supplemental income. The
company, when you sign on to Rock, Red Bull, or Monster, they take your numbers and like and they
your social media reach.
So like if you have 600,000 and they got already 2 million, when you bring over 300, 400, actually no, all 600,000 are going to come over if they already not following Monster. Because, like, you know what I mean?
Like, look at it like this, right? I have a small social media following. Right. But every time I drive my cars, I tell people I'm driving with Falcons. Right. Every time I ride my bikes, I'm on Dunlops. Falcon and Dunlop is like this. Right. Okay? Then turn around. I can prove, if I had to just show Falcon, hey, I can prove I've sold 10 pairs of tires or 10 sets of tires, however many tires they put on their car. I've sent 10 people to Falcon to buy this tire. I got guys in my DMs telling me, giving me their testimony how, shit, I didn't know nothing about these tires. These are the best fucking tires I ever drove on. Where did you drive on them at? Oh, I did track, or I did drift, or I did back roads. These are the best tires. Thank you for putting me on.
Get a vendor code,
it's like,
man.
Cool. Right? Yeah. Dude, yo, Cats is asking my son. Yeah. Where can we get, do you have a code with Thrash Racing?
Yeah, because that's...
No, but just let them know where you saw it at. Yeah. But that's me on a small scale. So imagine what these cats is doing, moving around with 50,000 too. Like Mike, I tell Mike, bro, you have it. You have the following.
Yeah, and it's solid.
If you stand by something, somebody there's going to be a percentage. It could be 1% of 280,000. It could be 10% of 280,000. Those percentages still move marks in certain places, right? Look at Josh Herring. Josh Herring has his YouTube channel. Yep. He wasn't happy at Yamaha. He was trying to make the best of what he had going on at Yamaha. There were great times at Yamaha. His vlogging showed that, right? But now he moved over to Ducati for a new venture. And he got his channel sponsored away from racing. I got my YouTube channel sponsored, guys. I can make killer content for y'all now because I have a budget to pay a film guy.
Hearing if I'm correct, he's like, he just had a new family or something like that, or he's like...
Yeah, all his life, his wife said he's wanted a kid, and I was able to give him a kid. Right. So that's his focus.
It kind of changed a little bit of the...
It changes a lot of it. You know how it goes. Yeah. It doesn't have to change what we're doing, but your focus changes. That's the scary part about having a kid.
That's what happened to, like, I mean, I'm not sure how many of the motocross I'm learning all the guys, and the dude Ken Roxon, he just had a kid. And it's like your hunger changes. Yeah, he was like, I mean, he's still top shelf. Don't get it wrong.
Yeah.
But, it's like that kid, as soon as they come in, it's like, I'm going to skip the moto and go take.
You soften up in the little places.
Right. And you think of
little places because
I
know with my daughter, when I had my daughter, I softened up a little bit on how hard I was going drifting.
Same. So, yeah, he was like, I'll normally jump this, but.
Yeah. That's exactly it. There's risks that you're not going to take.
Yeah.
And you don't even know why you don't want to take it.
Right.
But that little girl, that new baby, that new kid. Yeah.
And it goes two ways, man. It goes like, I'm not going to jump it because the kid, or I'm going to jump over this motherfucker.
Or I'm going to go hard
because of the kid.
That's the polarizing part of it.
So
I'm not going to go too hard because I don't want to fuck myself up. But I want to be around with this little girl. I'm going to go so fucking hard because I got to provide for this little girl.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what I mean?
both are noble
Both
and
are
valid,
great.
but it's
Hmm.
you know what I mean, if the results, you know what I mean, look at
But so Josh gets his YouTube channel sponsored, and so now he's like, "Yo, guys!" Instead of the press release, Josh Heron moves to Ducati, and all the Yamaha fans are like, "Yo, Josh, what the fuck are you doing? You've been on Yamaha since you were 16."
right.
Well, now we get the insight as to why.
Yeah, behind
Guys,
the scenes.
I wasn't having a blast. It was great, but I wasn't having a blast, and I was working really hard.
Yeah,
That was race after race after race after race after race after race, and it was like wearing on me because I wasn't having fun racing.
yeah,
I want to have fun racing. This is a new series. This is a new opportunity. I've never ridden this kind of bike. This bike seems to be really dope. I got this MotoGP boss. He's on the team. This Ducati championship winner. He's on the team. This now you're learning like, oh, okay, so I get it. It's all about fun for you right now. I can understand that. You're still riding. That's the main thing. I want you to keep riding. I want you to keep having fun.
right.
Oh, now you're getting money and you're going to show us more of your life this way. Like he went riding with Killer Cam and them in LA. I think he met up with Max Riss and them. He went on a group ride. Because now he's like, hey, Ducati just gave me this bike, told me to go have fun. I'm having some fucking fun. Who riding?
Monetized, bro. Free this.
And he's monetized. He is monetized, but he's also sponsored. So they're putting money in his pocket to do this, and his YouTube channel is doing well. And it's like, hey, let's have fun.
Bro.
Oh, now I get to go race on this new bike that I'm learning. Oh, this is about to be a fucking blast.
Yeah,
and we get to see it.
It's gotta. It's just the way. It's kind of. It sucks for some guys, man, because they don't want to. They just not techies. They don't want to do this. They don't got. I'm like, bro, all y'all guys got somebody that can like. I mean, even if you just put the camera on and roll it, it's like it's money. It's money on it. I mean, all right, look, man, if you got the money in the bank and you don't need to do it, cool. You know what I'm saying? And you don't. And
but that's the point where you should be.
Yeah, because it's easy. It's just like it's gonna roll right in. Because
if you really don't care about it, put a couple. Check this shit out, bro. Yeah. Like, let's say Alex Choi, right? Alex Choi don't give a fuck about nothing. He doesn't care. I'm doing this, get my pilot's license. I'm doing this. He's into everything. Right. I had a homeboy like that, so that's how I understand Alex Choi's personality. But he got the bread, right? He moves needles in car culture. He thinks certain ways. He trolls a lot. He doesn't care about prestige. I want this car this way. I want this way.
Right.
Every time he does something, it's polarizing. It brings a group. But he doesn't give a shit about filming it. He doesn't film the process. He just says, oh, hey, I got a new car. It's built. Check it out. Yeah. And then he does he'll do a filmed video like that's hella dope, burning rubber, all of this shit. But he didn't show you the process. Nobody's connected to it. It's just, oh shit, that's crazy.
And then
you get it. But think about the time that went that we could have been attached to it. I wouldn't, because I don't really care about how he builds it. But there are so many people that look at Alex Choi as our era's RJ De Vera, right? We had RJ De Vera that was doing basic shit to Integras. But
at that time,
he was at that time. Yeah. But he was the guy that was able to do it. He was building stuff, and we didn't have vlogs. He did film some documentaries, some cameras didn't follow him, but he was in magazines every week with all of the process being put into that. RJ De Vera is working on the new DC4 Integra.
Yeah.
So what? Yeah. But
there was no
he's documenting it.
Yeah.
And there are people that were super into it watching it. So because Choi has bread, he don't give a shit. But because he has bread, that's the time you should. Let me pay this dude $1,000. $1,000 is shit to me. But here's $1,000 for the next 2 weeks. I just need you 2 weekends. Film everything. I mean, every fucking thing, bro. And then edit it as you see fit to summarize the day. I don't care how you edit it. That's not my concern. You film it, you edit it, you put it in a Dropbox, send it to me, and I put it up.
Right.
Deal? Deal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's as simple as shit can go.
It's too easy.
There's dudes Yeah, there's dudes I be trying to hit up, and it's like, yo, what's your schedule look like? And I would really like to film, whereas I don't have to be the one to film. You get creative with your eye. You capture this whole day. If I'm out there working with my son and I don't have to grab the camera, yo, check it out. So this is what we're doing.
Yeah,
Woo, woo,
yeah.
woo.
And yep. It's
I can just have my earbud in, talking to him while he's riding.
bro. I know you know it, man. But it's a I've seen it happen to Brap vlogs. I've seen Mike kind of
Yeah,
does his own thing. LZ, many other guys when it goes from like this to now, you don't even realize that transition because they don't talk about it, but they're being
yeah,
followed and like you're like, oh fuck, this
yes,
motherfucker got people. And I had a guy that offered it. And I'm gonna hit him up actually to see if he's still into. I think he got a Japanese girlfriend. I think he's got his, he's worn out a little bit, so he might be cool because he was like, that motherfucker was, struck, whatever you want to call it, man. He strung out on her, but he was like, yeah, man, you need any B rolls? I was like, nah, I'm good because I didn't really want like that extra dynamic in there and like dude been around. I only need you for like 15 minutes, and then like you're like that's it, or and so it's like if you get that dedicated person. That's cool. I kick them some cash. And, I'm getting to that point now where I want to do events. If it's local and I got the guy there, because I really don't feel like holding the camera.
Dog, I didn't know how important B-roll was.
Yeah.
And I am a YouTube channel that does not do B-roll because I don't even show people
it's a good filler.
Working on. Yeah, but it's an amazing filler. Yeah.
Bring the music in.
It's an amazing, like if you look at Sheepy Race channel, right?
Yeah.
Amazing B-roll fillers. Divine does an amazing job with LZ's fillers with his B-roll shit. If I had somebody that knew, because when we're working on shit, stay the fuck out my way because I'm here, there, doing this. I might be in the middle of this and be like, you know what, fuck that, I don't want to use that tool. And I go to the backyard to use the press. And then I come back in and I do this and be like, you know what, nah, fuck that. Let me go back over here to get some nuts and bolts because F pressing out that damn bearing.
Bolted out, yeah.
Yeah, let me just get some nuts and bolts that fit in this shit and get some washers and figure it out later. But if somebody captured that in the middle of me running around, it tells the story instead of me saying, okay, so check this out. I got this shotgun. And instead of me using a 2017 like everybody else said, I used a 2019. The difference in the 2019, you need a thinner grade nut and bolt. It still works. Blah, blah, blah. I could have just showed and people would have been like, oh, damn. So I used a thinner grade nut and bolt to get this 19 shock in. But voila. R3 guys, you can use 2019 Kawasaki suspension, 2020. Because I said, hey, I got a 2020 shock on there. Kawasaki guys said, no, you can only use nigga, I have a 2020 on here.
Yeah.
Like, fuck what you talking about. Somebody told you could use. I have this on here.
Yeah.
You see, this is the color for the 2016, 2015, 2017, right? This color is the same exact color as the factory shock on this bike, but it's way bigger. That's from the 1920. You're welcome. Somebody did R&D for y'all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then guys are like, oh, how's it work? Works fantastic. What's the difference? 844 spring rate to a 800. This to that to this. This works. So now guys are like, oh, okay. Well, did you buy this from this guy? No, I did not. The lowering kit that came on this bike where I was about to sell it to y'all and y'all were telling me how much I should be selling it for, instead of somebody saying, oh, you're selling it for hella cheap, let me buy it. Since y'all was bitching, I said, fuck that, let me use the spacer that came from that lowering. I cut that hole in half and I put it on the ends of that shop.
Done.
Voila.
Done.
Done.
Yeah.
Works.
Yeah, that's the thing now, man. A lot of guys don't want to, with so much information out there, it's kind of too much. Then you got the what's right, what's wrong. And then there was back in the day on the forums where people would check each other. Now nobody, on forums, most of the pages don't come up when you type them in anymore.
Yeah, they don't exist.
But it's like, man, it's people like, it's so saturated that they want everybody to do everything for them. Like, bro, I guarantee if you Google that, you'll probably find what you need because we're not the one that done it, man. So it's kind of.
But we're dinosaurs, right? Yeah. So fuck Google.
Yeah.
Show me a picture of it.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know how this shock looks. You show me a picture of that shock. That works. How you know? Blood, it works. I'm just gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Then you buy it. Bro, that's not gonna work. It'll work. It ain't gonna work. It'll work. Then when you do it, what's that meme? That dude be like,
yeah, the African guy. Yeah, because it's like, man, it's not that. I mean, I didn't, again, I'm getting kind of deep into it. I haven't bought the bike. I haven't purchased a bike in about 4 weeks, man. So I'm 4 weeks sober. You know what I mean? So it's like
4 weeks sober from this.
Yeah.
From this.
You said you did.
What can we call it? Because they got Carcane.
You said you.
What's the bike version?
It's like motoholic.
We'll call it something.
Motoholic or some shit. So because you say you just bought something, I ain't gonna glaze over that. What did you just buy?
Hella shit for the R1 sitting over there.
Yeah.
Because I go on that schedule. If I do track days, it's because I've done something. So I took the catalyst. I got a test pipe essentially. All the cats are removed from this, and I want to go out on a fresh new tire because this motherfucker got powerful. I was like, no way this did this. So even though that
tire size, but R1 and R3 is same or different?
Way different. That's a 180. That's a 140. This is a 190 or 200.
Yeah.
I stay with the 190 because I don't have the wider rim,
yeah.
Which all the new generation strike fighters come with. So I could do a 200, but I stay on the 190. But I got new tires and everything ready to go. Even though this tire on this bike is new, I'm moving it over to this one. And again, it's something that people say you shouldn't do, but math tells me I can do it.
Right.
And that would be the thing, having a guy B-rolling, because so this tire on this R6 is a 180, but it's got a 60 sidewall, but it's got a 5-inch rim. So that 180 with the bigger sidewall makes the tire crown higher, right? Now, on this bike is a 190 55, but these bikes come on a 5.5-inch rim, a little wider. If I put this 190 onto that, we know a wider tire on a thinner rim bubbles.
It's going to do that mushroom shit. Like a fat cupcake motherfucker.
Yeah, but without it having the tall sidewall like this tire has, it's going to get the same exact wheel profile, tire profile that this has. So math tells us we could do certain things. People on forums or people that were told things that don't do shit and don't understand concepts. No, you can't do that. No, you shouldn't do that. No, you ain't going to be able to do that. I'm going to do it.
Right.
Relax. I'll tell you about it when I come back from the track. And then this thing, I've done stuff, so now it's track day time. And I want to have a new, fresh tire out back. Even though this one's good and new, I want a new tire out back because I know Sonoma like the back of my hand, but I know this bike just enough to know how hard I'm going to try to push it. And we're going to put those two theories together and see how the day goes. But I want a fresh all the way tire out there. It's still February. As great as all the weather's been in California, it's still fucking February. So there could be mist and dew all over the track in the morning. And later on, it might get 60, 70 degrees. But I want to handle the day with the best opportunity that I can. And I'm going out with all the homies. I got about 4 or 5 homies from the gram and my wingmates going out. So we're going to be out there having a blast. We'll be able to pace ourselves, take some time in the mornings to get everybody acquainted, get up to speed. Afternoon, I'm gonna start pushing it. Yeah. And this fucking thing is fast, man. It's like fast, bro.
Yeah, like I said, can't even comprehend, man. But the for that bike, because I just my again, man, I learned so much stuff. My guy, his son has a he took it out in the last video. His son has the 85, but it has a big wheel kit. I didn't know that was a thing. Wheel, yep. So I'm like, why the fuck does it look like a 125? Say no,
it's a big bike, but it's a little bike. Yeah.
So but the bike, so you just the wheels are bigger. So like for his R3, can you put essentially a big wheel kit on it, or you just can't?
No, you can if you start doing a whole lot
Yeah,
of
which is not
engineering.
this is
Because
upgrades into the
swing
bike.
arm
Yeah,
is more narrow. Yeah,
got you.
this is
Yeah,
a very narrow bike. Swing arm is narrow and everything. So what I can do is put wider tires on these skinny
right,
rims. Um, but that's going to do what guy. Oh no, you shouldn't do it because, hey, brother, I'm a man-sized man, and when I lean this motherfucking bike over, it's gonna lean.
right.
You being 112 pounds, 120 pounds, you might not want to do that. That's up to you,
Right.
but things can happen on this bike with me that you can't with
Yeah,
you.
wait, yeah.
So I can use more tire. Yeah, it does do the rounding out thing more. But when I do that and I run a specific tire pressure, when that tire flexes, I have more tire on the ground at that moment.
And
So
you're not going slow, so it's
and we're not going slow. Yeah. So it's just things of preference and things that get tried, and that's what I miss about old time racing. You get the old dude, like, so check this out, right? Some of the old race dudes used to tell me, oh yeah, for this spec class, we used to do this and this, and we would pull the cover off the so they had their cars set up, the certain series. I forgot what series the guy was telling me, but they teched the cars. They would check your piston diameter.
no shit.
And how do they do that? They pull your spark plug out and put a camera down there. Well, guess what they used to do? 7 out of the 8 pistons was big as fuck. The one they pulled the spark plug out was stock size.
So they were fucking hone 7. Wow.
But when they pulled up to tech, this is the only one you can get to under all the shit without taking the whole manifold off. So hey, there, get that one.
That's crazy. I wonder how
You
it
know
run
what I
ahead.
mean?
Like you got an 80, for example. Let's say you got an 86 millimeter piston, and the rest are like 87.5. Like how? I mean, it might. I mean, honestly, at that point, you're making so much power that little bit of.
Yeah, and that was exactly what they said. Yeah. Hey, they're carbed. Man, fuck it. We got that thing up on the revs the whole time anyway. Yeah. So hey, it just is what it is. But old timers would try something. That practice guarantee got passed down and passed down and passed down. Yeah. So we're getting too much into tech and farther away from just trying shit.
Hey man, your video just popped up on my like say you uploaded it 2 hours ago.
Good. That means YouTube is working. Yeah, because I didn't really even. No, I just put it up. Yeah, that's good.
It's like I mean, just as you're talking, it just popped up on my thing, and they got 2 hours ago 62 views. So
that means I just put it up. I didn't even share it nowhere yet.
That's weird. So
yeah,
like that,
and I don't put it. You see, this one just got put up oddly. I didn't put it up on the scheduled time. I'm trying to see how this works right now because I'm doing different times and everything.
Have you checked your analytics for the viewer? That shit's real, man. Like the
yeah, it is.
Only because like if it's like whoever I'm talking to, I don't know if you noticed, man, but I always launch the video like in the same time frame that we had the podcast because that's generally like if you want to watch it back with the people. But there's a thing on mine, because I'm in Japan and my account is US. It keeps switching back, so I gotta change that. But like in America, like the times that people would normally sleep, the
yes. So because like I get up in the morning at like 6 a.m. and I go look for your stuff.
Yeah. So like if I just put it up when the people are sleeping, like it doesn't get that many views. But if I put it during a time frame where it says like it's a purple light is a light is pretty much white and then dark purple for my thing. So the dark time is when your viewers are most on. And I put a video up, and sure enough, man, the numbers go up and everything. So I just try to do that and everything. It's kind of NASA. You could be like with all the screens and shit and having all the numbers and
you can do that and find your time. But what I've been doing lately is I've just been firing videos out. So I don't sit on anything. I just do it, film it, go edit it, put it up the next day. So I've been doing a lot of next day videos like that one I filmed yesterday just at random. And I'm doing that and when I'm done editing it, I put it up. So I only let it sit long enough to render in HD, and then I put the video up. So I don't know if it's 4K available yet, but I've been filming in 4K.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing that now, and I'm just winging it now because I was too structured at first. 9 a.m., 9 a.m., 9 a.m. Man, fuck that. Video done, video out.
Yeah, because
I'm just seeing how it goes.
The thing about that too, man, is when you it works for some people. Some people got their structured audience. They like every Tuesday 8:00, 8:05, and what happens with that is life. Life happens, and then
that's exactly it.
You don't get a chance to film. And I've seen people fizzle out quick when they had a good start because they got people accustomed to that. And they, hey man, it's Tuesday 8:05. What's up, man?
Where's your video?
Yeah. It's like nah, bro, don't this. I even though I kind of leave the mic but his is different. He upload, but he had time with his family. But the cool thing about him and his setup was he told people, hey man, I'm with Granny or whatever. We doing our thing. So if you're looking forward, so you're looking forward to it. You know, what I mean, I'm this is what I'm doing. But that's cool. He knows his core, and people responded. 300, 400 some comments. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool to be inclusive, keep people included, and things like that. But sometimes they kind of, I'm gonna release when I release. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been that one. I think the last podcast before the final one. Like we had shot it, and I just got busy with building engines and family stuff, and it was like almost damn near 5.5 days after. I think Mike joint it didn't come out because I was going to rush it out, but I was like, nah, I want to edit this and make sure everything's good to go, and like I normally do, and so that came out 4.5, 5 days after we shot it and everything. So a lot of these podcasts you watch, a lot of these people don't realize. Unless there's like the straight vloggers, that's like 24, 48 hours old because they be banging them out. That's what they do. But like for me and Lex, like we shot that 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was funny. You did it. You kind of did an inception to me on your video because you had found a lot, and then you were in a lot with your homie with the bike, and but the video after that was you finding a lot. So,
yes. Yeah. And sometimes that's what I run into because I get hyped about something. Yeah. And I'm like, man, fuck that. I'm putting this out before that. You know what I mean? Yep. And you get excited about certain content. But yeah, there's been times I've had footage just sitting on my phone or my computer, and I'd be like, I gotta edit this shit.
I got one from I've already done 2 more bike excerpts with the boys. I got one that I did before the snow came where I was first time I rode with them, which it was kind of a goon because I had the fucking RMZ 450 with some PW50s. It's like I'm for it's like, but I mean I wasn't like I just had the RMZ. I just rode it the day before. I didn't watch it, so I was like let's take it back out. And the 125 and the other bikes were whatever. But so people were looking at me weird as fuck because I got this RMZ 450 chasing around kids on a 50. So I got to put that video out and edit that and everything because they asked me to get the bike and I had to go back to the shop. And that was the first because I don't know if you've seen before the first videos. I didn't even talk on them. I just put them riding the bikes.
Yep.
And then I was like, man, people might want to know. So I was like, all right, well, this is me, blah blah blah.
Look at that first comment, the top comment on that video. Yeah. Look what it says. Dude says, your explanations on what you tell your son that's helped him improve, it's been helping me out a ton. And that's why I started explaining stuff.
Yep. I watched Chad Reed joint, man. Like all these dudes coming up with YouTube channels now. And, of course, the Deegans, his daughter's doing NASCAR and she's getting closer to drifting. I was like, hey man, get a drift car.
Yeah, I watched Haley's stuff. I'm like, look at her.
Yeah, I was like, because Deegan commented back to me. He was like, I was like, hey, his son got the truck, and he said you can go drift. I was like, get a new drift car, and he responded back. I'm pretty sure it's not Deegan. They got somebody running their comments, right?
Yeah, somebody running social media.
And he was like, nah, we're gonna leave it to Haley. I was like, all right, cool. Well, I'll be FD, blah blah blah. And, maybe we'll link up, but it's cool because like. Nah, like you're not like, bro. I watched the Reed's channel and he's talking to his kids. I'm like, all right, cool, word. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do this. I'm learning from him coach's sons. You know what I'm saying? He's like, nah, man, mate, you got to be fucking on it. You can't come in the corner and go slow. You got to be fucking on it, mate. It's like, all right, cool. Noted.
And that goes back to what you were saying earlier when I'm instructing stuff with my son, things that I may have been, because I'm sitting here researching how to go fast too.
Right.
And I'm paying attention to these MotoGP test riders and these AMA and Moto America dudes. And then when I'm relaying it to my son and I'm telling him everything, and this knowledge is coming out of my brain, and I'm like, oh yeah, why I ain't doing that shit?
Yeah.
But it's me telling him the good information, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta do that. I gotta go do that. Let me wait for him to get off the bike so I can go try it.
You be mid instruction, like you be talking to him, because I know you do it, because it happened to me. We're almost similar. You talking to him and saying, hey man, you gotta do this. I'm like, and in your mind, like, I'm not doing that. Like,
yep,
like,
but like, it keeps you sharp. It's like, you know what? Let me get on my shit and let me remember that. Because I was telling him, like, when you go into a corner, you pop up, and he's like, oh, because in his head he feels the resistance. So he said, oh, so you're using your body as a parachute. I'm like, yes, you're doing that, and you're pushing your weight back. So you're braking hard and you're pushing yourself off of the bike, and you're slowing yourself down. And then I'm remembering, oh, but when you do that, the bike your momentum's going forward. Use that momentum to pop your butt off.
Yeah.
Because that motion made you do this. And you just use that energy to pop off. So you're not, slowing. Now let me pull myself over. Now let me go into the turn. And I'm like, I ain't even doing that shit. What the hell? Hold up.
On the bikes, do you guys do I'm learning all the new terminology. Do you do the whole crack to crack shit?
Yeah. So, then I be calling it cheek to cheek, but it is crack to crack. Guys and people, what they're saying is, if this is your seat and your butt's sitting here, this is your butt crack, right? Your butt crack is right there. You're sitting on there going fast, and you go to take the corner. Butt crack is now splitting the seat. Yep. Your ass is hanging off the seat. Your crack is at the far edge of it. And then, crack to crack on each corner. So as you let off the throttle,
man, dude,
think about
that shit's crazy.
All of it translates.
Bro, it's crazy how, like, because it's like it's mundane, but then you get it, like crack to crack. It's easy to not simplify it, but it's so, when you're turning, and the first time I start doing it, I'm like, fuck, man. I go through the corner, the weight's on this thing, and then he also is like, it's like so much shit, man, because you gotta sit forward, crack to crack, and then also with the inside leg push down to get traction, and it's like, fuck, man, you gotta do all this stuff and the dudes that you watching, the pros, they do it like blinking, and that's why there's
without blinking. And it's funny. So I took Jalen so that he could understand. I have the other R1 in the back on the stands next to his car. So I'm just out there. So I'm like, all right, let's work on it. Because he wasn't really getting the hanging on with the inner leg. Right. He was getting it. He was doing it. But I could see his body. He's still hanging on with his upper body.
Got you.
He's making it look like he's doing it, but he ain't doing it. So I take him out there to the bike. Like, yo, let's do this. Hang all the way off. Hang out. Body out, shoulders out. Remember, shoulder over the outer shock, right? Or the inner shock, because you're on the inner corner. And I'm like, okay, cool. And now I'm like, now you're hanging on with that outer leg? He's like, yeah, because that's what these tank pads are for. I'm like, you're holding on with that outer leg? He's like, yeah. I said, then let go with your hands. And then his body, he's like, oh. I'm like, no. Don't even put your hands back on. Hang all the way off the bike. Butt crack all the way off, right? Hold on to your whole fucking body with just that leg. And this inner foot is pushing down. This inner foot's on the inner peg, looking like this, because you're pushing down on that peg with your knee out. And I'm like, and do the Spider-Man. Hold your whole body off the bike. And then he starts to understand, oh shit. I'm like, now just rest your hands on the controls. That's how you should ride through the corner.
I'm learning right there, because I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know. So when those guys got their knee out, they're pushing into that peg.
Them motherfuckers is pushing that peg off the bike.
Actually, that makes sense.
If you look at a track day rider that just uses the same equipment all the time, he don't refresh it. That nigga pegs is bent like this.
Got you. And I mean, it makes sense. I just said the same thing, but in dirt bike, when you turn in the corner, you're not knee out, but you gotta push. The dude's like, you gotta push. Whatever side you are turning How does that make sense?
Into
Yeah, whatever side you turn.
So let's just say you're turning in.
Right, you gotta push. You gotta
that outside
you gotta push
down.
that peg down because you're getting grip on that. Your knobbies are on that side, so you want to put the force down on that side. And he was like, yeah, so you're pushing down because your body's going there. I mean, you're not leaning over in a dirt bike, but at the same time, you got to put that traction down on the rear wheels. Then you got to sit forward to keep the traction on the front wheels, because if you sit back, then the wheel's going to wash out. It's not going to grab into that dirt, and it's crazy, man.
So imagine you're doing a burnout on a motorcycle. Let's just say a circle burnout, or let's just say drift.
Right.
Imagine you're drifting a motorcycle. It's leaning in and it starts to drift. The back wheel going out this way, right? But it has a level of grip that it's not spinning out. You feel the grip. Now, what you're doing with your body now, let's just imagine you standing up off of the bike, pushing it down with your feet.
Both feet are just
and that thing is, both feet pushing down on it and you leaning into the turn. Now let's break that down. Yeah, exactly, exhausting. But now let's break that down, and you're not physically standing all the way up off the bike, but you're pressing that bike down with your legs as if you're trying to stand up off it. And that's exactly how you do that. Now, let's multiply it with hanging on with the outer leg. And then pointing your shoulders out and head in, and your arms are just really limp. You're hanging onto the throttle a certain way. Because if your hand is like this, your arm could only go out far enough. If your hands are like this, holding it like a wrench, like a screwdriver, like you're screwing in, see how your body can work now? But if it was like this, holding the grip straight, you're blocking your body. Yeah. But now when you're holding it like this, you just opened your whole fucking body up.
That's crazy, man. Like,
those are things that I'm learning.
The whole it's crazy. I mean, it makes sense to ride a motorcycle, but the same thing with a dude. He was telling me like you kind of turn your hands in this way, because if you it's the difference. It's like if you this something. I'm explaining it wrong, but if you're turned in this way, you grip in this way. Then if something happens and pulls, you're not all the way right.
Yeah,
you're kind of. So a lot of guys, when I watch the pro guys, I see them, they come across their grips like this.
Yep, and that's how I learned how to do it now. Yeah. I curl my hand under, okay, so say the cell phone is the throttle. Instead of me being like this, and holding the throttle like this,
everybody does ride a bike.
Which is everybody riding on the freeway, they hold it like this. Now I'm like this. These fingers are just resting on it. I have the throttle with my pointer and my thumb. And I'm doing this because my hands are sideways on it now. So now I'm holding on to each control like this. These fingers can do what they want. I'm accelerating with these two fingers because now this is how I'm turning. I can dig in deep like this. And when I'm sideways, if I was like this, now I'm blocked off and my hand is weird. Right. Let's just say something goes over a bump and I whiskey throttle like a motherfucker. Yeah. But now because I'm like this, I go over a bump and my arm can do whatever the hell it wants to do. Because I got the control over it. A million years of using pencils, messing with yarn. You've done so much you don't even think about. Yeah. The dexterity that these two fingers got can do any fucking thing in the world. Roll up. You can, know what I mean? Yeah. You can do anything you want with these two fingers.
Yeah.
And you ain't even thinking about it. Yeah. But now you have your solid control with the base of your thumb. And now that is under the throttle here. And you can push. Just think about how many things you could push with just your thumb. You can get under anything, because we wrench on shit. You get to a hard to reach place with a fucking nut and bolt. All that thumb got to do is get that bitch. Yeah. I got torque, ho. I'm twisting this shit, and that's how this game works. You use these two fingers, and the rest is just there.
You're just like this. Before we can't get the guys, same thing. You play with your chick's nipples. Like,
you know what I mean?
It's like,
That's what them
or your
nipples
boy, or your
this,
boyfriend,
yo.
whatever you into these days, man.
You can get in all the little.
yeah.
Think about it. Think about the level of the minute control. You can mess with things super gently with these fingers. You can mess with things super firm with these fingers. You can do so much with your body, and that's why I be trying to tell my son when he fell over. You didn't isolate your body. You didn't isolate your muscles. Which muscles are you going to use? How are you going to use your body? Your body can do whatever the fuck you want it to do. You just got to have the processor to say, all right, I'm using this now.
Yeah.
So when I'm explaining that to him, I'll be like, let me keep it real with myself. Lexis, you didn't just do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let me go out and do that shit. Then when I'm driving, the same thing. You know, a lot of people, when they look at my in-cars and I do that handbrake to shift and that downshift when I reach up from the handbrake to third gear and I pull that third gear to second gear and all I do is open my fingers to slide off of the shifter to the handbrake, and this one pullback just did third to second to handbrake. I just did one motion. I went do what? And when I pulled it up, I released it and went right back to the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you just seen this. That's all you saw. It was like I holstered, like think about shooting, because my cousin, he do all this shooting shit. And he'd be like, imagine you just had your hands on the table, somebody came through and they about to cause havoc, but you about to blow that nigga away. You know you can make the shot. Your hands on the table and you go, boom, you just unholstered your gun with your palm, your fingers just went around the trigger and the stock, and you just went bam. And it was just one movement, boom. Instead of fiddling, oh shit.
You already got you, man.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just like, boom, one movement. And so I make all of my movements as easy as I possibly can. And that shit from drifting, you know, it's boom, boom, boom. You know, boom, boom, boom. And that's like,
man, it's crazy, man. Like, you're just thinking about that, man. It's like how, as humans, man, like you can, it don't take a long time to, I mean, you can go from what you're explaining with like, say, we're in a small category of, you know, I'm becoming proficient on a bike. You know, every time I touch it, you already are way proficient in both bikes and cars. And you can go from transitioning from that to that and total different mechanics, man. And you just, once you get into that arena, you activate those mechanics. You don't forget the other ones. You're just not on a bike right now. And that's a cool thing, man. That's why I like I tell guys, man, like, try new shit, man. Because one thing I went to the track with the RX-8, right, the other day. You seen the pictures.
Yeah, dude, that was so cool. Yeah.
So I had the one of my sons scared me, man, because the motherfucker fell asleep while we was drifting. I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna be nuts, man. And this the young one. I gotta take his training wheels off. He's done because he started tripoding and shit. And like he knows the wheels are there, so he started leaning and doing dumb shit. I'm like, nah, your training wheels are off because you're getting like, and he finally it took 6 sessions and he fell over twice in a corner. He just go in the corner, no brakes, and then turned, and when he turned it, you know, it tipped, did the whole tip thing, the little triangle between the bike.
You put yourself in the nose down, rear end up. Right.
Kind of like the old school fucking the 3-wheelers and shit. So he
the death traps.
I've seen watch videos of those too, man. Widowmakers like this. Yeah. But the man, it's like getting that stuff, but I took them out, and it's snow and shit, but I was the only one out there like banging a fucking limiter, dude. And it's like it's kids in the back is low, you know, it's just ice and snow, so it ain't like violent. They're not getting shook around. That's how I fell asleep, because it was just smooth gliding.
It was smooth, yeah.
So but I was, you know, while everybody else was like, I'm like, man, I'm in a fucking car. I'm not on a bike. I'm not gonna fly off the bike. Like, it's just an extra. I feel like I got already an extra gear, if it makes sense. Yeah. In a car, because I know I can crash into this tire wall and I'm not gonna fly out the car. I'm not gonna fly off the bike into something else. So I think that's already unlocking it, and I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, this summer, man. You know, and also, you know, I did that in the same day. I didn't Hollywood that shit. I went that shit. Man, I was tired as fuck, man. By the end of the day,
Yeah,
dude,
you do me,
bro, I
don't
was
you?
because after the beach, I prepped the car at the same time, so I had to change tires. I
Right.
had to put coolant in it, load it up, go pick up the kids, and that seemed like it's minimum task, but I mean, and clean snow. So when I got them home, man, I was like, I took a shower and like went to sleep, man, and I never do that. I never do
Slept
that, man.
good
Yeah,
too.
I'll put them in there. And,
That's my I think that's my focus. I know I'm not going to be able to do it in the same day
yeah, that's
because
too much, man. I might
well,
not be. Yeah,
maybe I might
yeah,
if the drift event goes into the evening,
yeah.
but I want to go do like motorcycle track day, leave after like 3 4 sessions, come home, get the drift car, and go do a drift event. I want to see if I could do that,
Bro,
or
yeah.
do the grip car and then drift
Yeah.
car. I want to do 2
Well,
disciplines
you
in
got
one
jail. You
day.
got jailing now, so you got the slave labor. You got the free slave labor with jailing. So, you know what I'm saying?
At least I can
Yeah,
like, yo, unload the car, bro. While I
man.
go,
That
do
right
some
that
wash
right there
real
is. I
quick.
was just thinking about that too, man. It's like with my kids, it's like you got a automatic hangout partner, man, because they
Yes.
the age still where they want to learn from the dad and everything. Maybe when he gets older, it might be less and less. Naturally, he's gonna go do his own thing. But for the time being, he's in the house with you, still in high school. So you got a few years, a few more years of that. And I'm looking forward to like just having like, hey man, let's go. I ain't got nothing. It's cool to have buddies, but what I mean, it's like you ain't got to even go through that shit. You ain't got to be, hey man, y'all gonna be at the track? Nah, I got my
Yeah.
crew right here.
That's exactly what's been happening
Yeah.
because I'd be like, yo, let's go. People say no. I'd be like, all right, fuck
Cool, I
y'all.
got my boy.
Go get my boy.
Yeah.
Yep, we out.
Yeah.
We just be everywhere. Like the last weekend was so funny because I didn't have anything planned. He just really took a fucked up class picture, and I said, sir, we cannot hand these pictures out. You look crazy. And we went and took a class retake.
Yeah.
That went like this. I thought we were gonna be there for like an hour or so. We got out and back in like 30 minutes, and I'm like, okay, it's super sunny. And he's like, yo, can we go drive the RX-8s? I'm like, sure.
Yeah, yeah, man.
You asked, let's go.
Say nothing else.
You did what I asked. We got up in the morning. I said, what you wearing? He was like, this. I'm like, okay, before we got ready to go, he had changed his clothes already. And in my head, I said, okay, he put his fit together, but we're doing class pictures. Let me go get him one of my button-up shirts. I ironed it, threw it on. I said, there you go, swag.
Yeah.
I'm like, you good, let's go. And he's like, okay. He kind of liked the fit anyway because this is mostly his. All I did was throw a shirt on him, a button-up. You can leave it open. I don't care. It's do it. If they let you take a class photo the way he took it,
yeah. Well, so
they are.
So it was the gear he had on?
This nigga left the
Hey,
house.
did you got a picture of that shit?
Yes, I do,
No,
but I gotta ask him if I.
Ain't trying to social media, man. Let's put it out there. It's
But
out there
this
forever.
nigga had a do-rag on tied, nasty tight, with the seam on the outside.
Like he just got out of jail.
And then he had a bubble coat on. I'm like, you look like a dope dealer from Harlem, yo. I'm like, yo,
like a fucking like you belong in a Puff Daddy Mace video and the shit in the background.
Yeah, I was like, that's nasty vibes, bro. I'm like, oh, and then I was more embarrassed because it's like, yo, you went to school like that, yo. You was around school like that all day. Nah, that's not how we rock. So it was like after that, I'm teaching them like, nah, this is how you dress, bro. Because obviously I've been giving you freedom to wing it and do your own thing, dress how you want to, and you going crazy. Nigga, why are you wearing do-rags? You know what I mean? Like, who even bought you? But I guess his granny bought him a do-rag. He said he wanted one. So it's like, nah,
some of the regular old gas station do-rag type of shit.
Yeah, because there's a beauty supply store behind his grandmother's house, and he went and got a do-rag, yo. I'm like, no, B, this is not what we doing. So, it's just like, he's a good kid, he do whatever, so it's just like, all right, we got that taken care of, that's out the way. Yeah. We don't really have nothing to do. He's like, hey, Dad, can we go drive RX-8s? Yeah, for sure, let's go mob. I haven't drove them in hella long. I've been having them sitting on the chargers. Yeah, let's go drive them around. So we went mobbing RX-8s around, and I was like, yeah, you drive the race car, I'll drive the other car. So it's just like, I'm glad he be wanting to hang out. Most of the time, anything he asked me, yeah, go for it. The grades are good. As long as you're being good and respectful, we could do whatever. He came home the other day. I just put the exhaust on. He said, Dad, can I ride the bike? Yeah, go ahead. So anything he asked for, I was like, cool. Because it's like, I'm still the coolest motherfucker,
right.
But I do understand girls, video games, other friends, things happen. But I'm still the go-to guy for the coolest shit around town. So, it's cool that I'm watching him navigate high school. But it's just gonna be the coolest thing to really see when he starts feeling himself, yo. When he starts riding to school on that, pulling up, everybody already thinking, oh, he could dress. Because I taught him how to dress. He dressed like he's from the 90s now. But the thing is, that style of dress still kind of works right now.
Yeah.
He buys the type of clothes that he likes that are of this generation, but I teach him how to dress with them like we used to do back in the day.
Man, I still
so
can't
now
get over that
everybody's
shit,
saying,
man. I can't get over the I remember back in my time, it's like a fucking old, man. But like you wanted the baggiest pants you can get, man. And like that's where the whole pulling the sagging shit actually came. Well, that's a whole different thing, but the other, I never fucking had my shit below my ass, but it's like you kind of pull them down a little bit just to create a little bit of scrunch, and you know what I mean? Like it's like because the mom wasn't really.
Well, your pants leg wasn't straight leg, looking like a dork.
No.
You had a little bit of bunch on
my,
it.
My mom was fashionable. We didn't have all the money in the world, but you know what I mean, we was proper. Just one size up on what is like you get the 30 waist, you get the length a little
to grow into.
Right. And yeah, man. So like you back in that time, like if you had some fucking tight pants on, man, you was not hearing the end of that shit. You was not hearing into that. You was not hearing into that, man. No. That was like, what I mean? Like that was you was not hearing into that. So you wanted everything to be. I mean, there was excessive back. Because one thing, like for example, me, I'm from Baltimore, and I want to say the East Coast is where the white tee shit just became like a science. And I'm like, man, I work on cars, man. I'm not putting that shit on, dude. I never wore one. I just didn't get into that. I just didn't do. I was wearing cutoff shirts, muscle shirts and shit.
Oh yeah.
Like I was that guy. I was that dude.
See, I learned the white tee thing real early. I learned the t-shirt thing early, I hated.
In LA, that was the white tee thing was guys doing that back.
The white tee thing. We were doing that in the 90s, but it was the black. That's exactly. Yeah. So I taught my son how to layer it.
Right.
It's like, your white tee, let that white gleam hanging out the bottom. Then you got a black tee. Now, and I showed him, they could both be extra large t-shirts, same length. I said, but here's how you layer it. You get your iron and you iron that white tee. You don't even know it. You're not even trying. But when you iron that white tee, you just made it a quarter of an inch longer. So when you put it on, that hangs out a little bit further than the black tee. And then if it's cold, put a hoodie over it. Now you looking like super coordinated. Now you match that black tee and white tee with a pair of black and white dunks under your blue jeans. So I'm teaching him that shit. And he like, so now he's looking at his fits with creativity. Shit, okay. That's how I'm gonna do. We got him hella clothes, hella hoodies, hats, and all kind of shit for Christmas.
And it's weird.
He like, it's lit.
It's weird that so many people don't like what you're explaining. It all makes sense to me, and like, so like my wife, like we got into. I mean, I remember we first went out. She's like, "Yo, you're wearing like kind of soiled clothes and shit, dirty clothes." I'm like, I mean, whatever. But like now, I got honestly, because I mean, I'm this is what I wear every day. So what I do is I have like right in the thing as I walk in the door, I got like I got beige khakis, black khakis, a pair of jeans. Like right in the thing is covered. I got like if she got, hey, I want to go do this or whatever, I come home in like 5 minutes, man, because I'm never like fucking.
Yeah, that's there.
Yeah, I'm never like I'm not the mechanic that's like black shit everywhere, because I think if you're doing that, you got other shit going on. So my
Yeah.
face is generally clean. My hands, I just wash them. And I throw that shit on real quick, and I change the shoes, man, and like out the door. And the shit's like,
Yep.
it's not like, you know what I mean, it's a pair of, you know, dark stonewashed jeans or whatever, or dark denim with like a red shirt and a pair of white Nikes or red shoes. It's like quick. And a lot of people can't do that
Quick,
shit, man.
so I'll tell my wife, I get dressed in the dark. I got a clothing rack outside of the closet. That clothing rack got all my black T-shirts on it.
Yeah.
The black T-shirts on this side have stuff on them, maybe a print or a logo or something.
Yeah.
The ones closer to this side are just pure black T-shirts. I go in my drawer. I got the drawer with white stuff.
Yep.
I got this drawer with gray stuff. So it's like, oh, how do I want to do it? This to this or this to this, and then jeans, any color. I got hella dark blue, black, white, gray, whatever. It just is what it is, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. Go in the living room, shoes. I'm put together in a couple minutes.
Like even with the,
you know,
it's don't get it. Cause even with the guys, man, why you wear like why you got like the pink shirts? I'm like, dude, if I had like a blue or a yellow, it just wouldn't. It like I'm wearing a suit that has black and pink. If I put on like a green shirt, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
put a white tee on under that.
It don't even like it just don't. You know what I mean? I'm kind of fucked up. I got a gray. I ran out of black thermals.
Nah, that's fine.
So,
yeah.
But it's still a dark color. It ain't like it ain't brown and shit like that. So it's man, that's cool though, man. Over here I'm
like that. I put my son together. They had the throwback day.
Yeah.
I gave him a white long sleeve thermal under was it a gray or a white T-shirt, and then he had another T-shirt on under that thermal that was hanging lower. So it was hella funny. I had him layered up. So he had a long white tee under a thermal, but the thermal was a long sleeve under a short sleeve. So he was layered. When you looked at it, it was just like, what the hell? Then he had on the jeans and then the shoes to match and a hat and he said there were kids hitting him up. He was texting me like, "Hey, Dad, somebody asked how much you want to sell this outfit for." I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
It's like sell. Nigga gonna go on Amazon.
Get out of
go
here,
on Amazon
man.
and order that shit. Get it tomorrow, Amazon Prime. Like,
but it's like, yeah, you know, I stay dipped. Like, this is how we dress. This is how we did it, and this is why we did it. And then he's like, oh, okay, so he's learning that. So imagine now he got this sense of style. Right, he's a freshman. He's learning a sense of style. He's learning how to navigate girls and homies. And then he starts pulling up on this to school or driving one of the RX-8s to school. This kid ain't gonna know how to fucking act when he gets to junior, freshman, know what you're
explaining, man. He's like a what we thought like a Zach Morris was, a Saved by the Bell. He just had the coolest room.
Yeah,
fucking big ass cordless phone and they had the like, it's like you know those shows, man. Cause it's like I told my wife I'm kind of building. I built them a room where the cat room was, and I'm like, man, this shit gotta look dope, man. Like it got to be somewhere where they want to go because right now it got the white walls. They actually fucking, man. I know you've been through it already, man. I
drawn on it.
Yeah, man. Dude, we came in there and my wife was screaming. I'm thinking one of them fell off the bunk bed. I was going there, man, and like it's like. Man, I had to slap their ass, man. I'm sorry, man. I'll say what you want, but I had to slap. Because I told them 2 days before that, don't, because they was in the bed with the crayon. I was like, don't do that. I do on a whole wall, this big ass like. I'm like, nah, man. My buddy's like, what's artistic? I'm like, nah, it ain't.
Yeah.
Nah.
Luckily, see, my daughter does that at her grandmother's house. She doesn't do it here, but what she does here, if there is any bit of a paint imperfection, she take her fingernails and will dig in it. And she'll dig in it until she gets enough to pull. And then she'll pull that shit. And it's like the door. So she's sitting there doing it. And it's like my wife was right there and it's like, yo, you didn't fucking stop her? Yo, she pulled a strip that pulled down to the brown, the actual material of the door. Yeah. And I'm like, all right. Yeah. All right. All right, well, did you eat any of it?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, when your house is, it ain't that old to have lead in it, is it?
No, but still, I don't even, don't. I was like, don't.
After I was like, man, I was like, man, you know, I talked to him. The thing is, man, when the wife was in there, they, but when I walked in there, man, it was just like that look was like fuck. They both looked at me,
Yeah.
and I was like, no, and I didn't like fucking break their back. I just slapped that. I'm like, don't do that shit.
Smack.
Yeah.
Pop, pop. Yeah.
Man. So you gotta dance around that shit now, and people be like calling the cops on you, like fuck out of here if I slap your ass.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
It's like, but nah, man, they ain't, let's just say they ain't touched no crayons when they got home last night, and they were on the table. And they was like, nah, I ain't fucking with
There
those.
you go.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
Like, lesson learned. Because I was like, hey, I did that shit too. I drew on the walls. And I think it was a little worse for me though. But the
You know what's funny? Like you were saying, the room got to look cool.
Yeah.
Because like I was telling my son, like when he was having to do
Clean that
the
shit up.
homeschooling. Yeah, when he's having to do the homeschooling and shit, I'm like, yo, he got the same lights like in this garage. I was like, yo, you should have your whole ambiance set up. You should be the cracking this little square. You should be the cracking this little square in that Zoom meeting, right? I said, and then sometimes you got the sliding door. Go right in the hammock and chill, because I got LED lights on our fence in the back too. I was like, I'd be sitting there first thing in the morning under a cover swinging. They'd be like, is this nigga on vacation? He outside in a hammock with lights up behind him. Shit. Like, that's the vibe.
But you know what I'm saying though, man. Like, it was like that when we grew up in the movies. They always the cool kid always had the cool ass like posters on the wall, and like they had like that cool ass room where when they got home for school, like there was back in that time, there was no gaming was kind of just coming out. And you go home and like you had no responsibilities. I mean, sometimes you go outside, you go outside more, but your room was like that. It looked like the room was just like the coolest place in the world to be, and that was just one of those things. So like, even my little man, even here, you know what I mean. Kind of look at the back here. I got like random shit on the wall. Like NPC. I got some medals I wanted, some jiu-jitsu shit. My dog tags from the military that that was military issued. That's not a real M4. That's just a PlayStation controller, believe it or not. But it's like you would have those rooms, man, and like now it's like not even the kids are it's weird. It's weird, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's so gray, black and white.
Yeah.
That's just like super clinical.
Yeah.
Nah, have shit up and about. Just like my son's room was pretty cool. He inspired these lights. We got him, put him up in his shit, and I said that shit kind of tight, so I bought some for here. But it's like he's got the good vibe going on in his room. He got shit up on the wall. He's got a poster or a collage he just made of all the drift cars that he's inspired by, and I'm like, yo, like 40% of them people up there. I was like, ain't that cool shit? He's got this flags from events and things. So it's like, yo, you got the cool shit. But every time he's sitting on his Zoom meetings when he has to or whatever, he's got his bunk bed to his back. That's his background. It's like, yo, and we got him the bunk bed with the desk under it. Like, yo, you should be chilling at the desk with your vibe in the background.
Yeah.
Like, people should be looking like, yo, Jalen, what's that on your wall behind you? Oh, that's when I went to Formula D, went to the championship round. What's that over there? Oh, that's JTP gave me that. But what's that over there? That's from the Good Luck League event. They gave me this. These are all the places he's been. As
conversation starters, and like the thing is, when I point to the background, dude, everything on the wall, somebody's commenting on one thing of like, oh, the dude's like, I know you're from Maryland. It's like, yeah, I mean, why would I have a Maryland hat right there? Then the dude was like, I know he was a jiu-jitsu. I'm like, yeah, that's my blue belt. I got my purple belt now. Then lacrosse, like everything in the background. This is one of my homeboys' business. He makes these flags out of wood and shit. And man. So it's like everything has because if you go back and look at the very first the guys who watch Lexar, of course he's been a part of them. But I just had like this one little Pinku style flag. That was my first joint, and it was just like I got to spice it up. Somebody on Mike channel did say it was, and I did take and I took constructive criticism. I had one little painting here I took down because after I looked at it, I was like, yeah, it is a little bit too much going on. And but I put a picture of me right there and shit. So you know what I'm saying? It's like
right there.
Yeah, so it was like it was a painting. It was a painting right there, and it was a little bit too much. And when I Step back and look at it. I was like, yeah, he's right. He's right on that and everything.
But it's like this, right?
Yeah.
I got my import tuner shoot. That's right there.
Yeah.
Some independent photos from photographers, trophies and checks from events, photos from like the first year I was drifting, a random photo of motorcycle and a toge, whiteboard to-do list,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, for the cars and the bikes, uh, arrow that I could fiberglass and reuse, but I won't,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, tires for motorcycles. You know, it's like
so
I got,
you got a couple of the winning the checks they give you the big
the big checks.
I was laughing, man, because the reason why
I got 3, but there's only 2 there.
I never got one of those yet. Oops. But I was like, I'm pretty sure somebody's done it, maybe not. But going to like a check cashing place with that big ass check, like, hey man.
Oh, with that big ass check, like, yo,
dude,
cash me out.
Dude, when I was younger, and I'm like, how the fuck they cash that big ass check, man? Like
the publisher,
that's just like
joints. They come through the door like, yo, I got this big ass check,
hey man,
yo.
You gotta do that. You gotta do that shit, cause I ain't never seen nobody take a winning check from an event and go to like a check cash like, hey man,
that's funny.
Can I cash this shit? They be like, get the fuck out of here, man. And does this just say the date on it?
You say what?
Does it say the date on the it's like the 2000 or just a number amount?
Yeah, just number amount. If somebody made a format like an actual check, that'd be funny ass shit.
Like the big
you'd go inside Bank of America and be like, yo, I couldn't put this in the ATM, but I need this cash.
It's like
they gonna be like, yo, you get the fuck out of here.
No, the motherfucker be like, hey, you got a cell phone, you gotta take a picture of it and scan it in, and they're like, nah, dude, it's not real check.
Yeah,
the real check is deposit. But yeah, man, good time as always, man. I got my wife just pull up outside on the Scarface cameras.
All right, cool.
There's one here, so yeah, man, I'm gonna get this. This definitely gonna be out tomorrow because I got the fast ass hard drives now. So I'm gonna go get some.
Man.
Updates. So all the guys there, you're doing this thing, man. It's one of those things where like kept talking about it, but I got upgraded the system to solid state drives, more space. So I can do more in rendering quicker, and like the editing and everything is like a lot more. It doesn't load as long, just like your PlayStations. If you got before they changed over from the
the PS5. Oh my god.
Yeah. So I ain't got it. I ain't and with that, man, I ain't. It's
got that joint.
Yeah, I'm on. I might have to wait on the PS5, man. But because it's gonna play on the 4, so I'm good. So I just got to download.
Yeah. Gran Turismo's coming up for us very soon.
So I just got to download 2 copies of it and what you call them. But I'm right now. Yeah, I'm a motorholic right now. Shit. So
got that right.
Yeah, man. So I got that and mod and shit. And now I'm looking at my cars like I feel bad because I'm like money I did spend. I could have all my comp cars could have been up and running. You know what I'm saying? They run, but
I think about that kind of shit too, but I just be like, whatever.
But when I'm on that bike and I'm wide open, like, nah, this is fun.
I'm like, whatever, I'm having fun.
Yeah, man.
Look, just last year, this was 13 grand, that was 2 grand, and then I did miscellaneous other things to buying parts for this and parts for that. Yeah. I'm like, damn, if I spent $15,000 in one of my cars, I'd be going crazy.
Like you said, man, if you wouldn't have had a lapse in skills right there, man. The money it costs to fix that white RX-7 right there. I could have bought a bike with that shit, man. You know what I mean? So it's like But it is what it is. But hey, man, again, man, it was always a good time, man. And this is like I say, man, I'm looking at a few guys that's gonna come on and everything. And like we're not gonna do one thing I don't want to do for the guys watching and listening. I don't want to pre-announce. Because it kind of it builds and it also it puts the person in a position where if they can't make it, it makes them feel like shit, and you don't want to make your guests feel like that. So it's like, hey, when they can come on, they can come on. So it's gonna be like just like Rogan when Kanye shit, they kind of announced that, but it was Kanye. But
they probably announced it because they had already filmed it.
Yeah, it was already filmed.
Or they were close to, he was walking in the door in a couple hours. Yeah, so they would film their previous podcast, and then he was going to be the next one in a couple hours.
So they got that.
But yeah, I'm excited for the next couple ones.
So we're talking about that, get that on. Then, like I say, man, of course, anybody in your circle, man, that you deem that's, that's cool to get on and do all that stuff and, got something.
I'm gonna get Pfeiffer together.
Yeah, we definitely gotta do that. Cause
Pfeiffer will be
it'll
cool.
be cool as hell. Cause I'm like, man, you remember me from Weldon, Jersey, 2003? You know, He's like, here's a video right here, put it in there and everything. But he commented on Facebook, so he knows about it. But man. So anyway, it's gonna be 2022. It's January, January 28th right now.
26th.
It's
28th. Oh damn, he days up.
Yeah, so it's 28th in Japan, and like I said, like we open with guys there, man. Just get active, get busy, man. Because again, with me with the business, man, like it's crazy, man. It's already 6 years of business. This is already the month is already. I'm already, because I'm waiting for parts. I'm doing this and doing that. My time flies, man. So right now,
you're thinking in March by now.
I'm in April, man, because that's
I
got pretty much February is all like shit. Looking at my schedule, actually February and March are already fully booked. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm already like, and then when those jobs with the Corona shit with the parts and everything, some jobs are getting bumped because some stuff is not arriving. Then I had a case the other day. I didn't open a box. They sit on the ground for 3 weeks, and they sit the wrong rotors. So because I didn't check it, you can't send them back. So I was like, fuck. You know what I mean? So I had to, so that shit happens, man. It's, that's one thing out there, guys. Bikes, cars, whatever. You're gonna get a wrong batch of parts or something that's not gonna fit. It's part of the game.
For sure,
it's part of the game, man. So you just gotta make sure you double check and triple check when you order shit. And sometimes it's on the company. And if it's on the company, you shouldn't be paying shipping. They should be paying for that shit, to go back and forth. If you fucked up, then it's on you. But it is what it is, man. It's gonna be Lex, again, joining me again from Richmond, California. It's gonna be down here signing off from Osawa, Japan. Again, keep it easy. Be safe out there. Do what you gotta do. Get rid of this Corona, Omni Transformer, Voltron, Cron, whatever the fuck it's called now, and everything. So
it's just called getting sick now. We've gone through 2 years of this shit.
I still officially haven't had it. You know what I mean? But I was sick, under the weather a couple of times. And I didn't get tested. So, maybe I did, but maybe I didn't.
Yeah. You ain't got marked with it yet.
Like going back, I think right before it kicked off, I was sick December. Like December going into January, I was pretty sick. So I think I probably already had it. I just didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never got popped for it and everything. So.
Right.
I got that antibodies naturally, but it's all good. But again, guys, again, thank you for supporting both my channel, KOE Family. Check it out. It's kind of man, check it out, man. You know what I mean? Our channels
we're just having fun, man.
We doing, man. You're not gonna see a bunch of gimmicks and this, and it ain't saying that the people who got more than us are gimmicky, because they're not. Some of them are not. You know what I mean? But cause some of them are. And they do wild shit for views that we not gonna do. You know what I'm saying? We just keep it real. So when you meet us at the events, the person you looking at on the camera is the person you're gonna meet. And ain't gonna be no different energy and different acting all like they can't talk to motherfuckers and shit. So it's all good. So again, keep it like that. Definitely thanks for the support again for both of us. And more to come. That's all I can say out there. So again, yeah, man.
Hell yeah. We gonna do more cool shit for 2022, man.
Yeah. And I'm definitely, man, hopefully this bullshit goes the fuck away, man, because I want to fly over uninhibited it by all this shit, man, because I want to try to get over to Cali. Because I've never been through. I've only been in the airport. Now you don't count. You lame motherfuckers counting states as airports. Airport's airport.
Yeah.
So
Airport's airport.
Yeah, I've been through LA, but I didn't leave the airport. I was in the USO. Connected flight. So I've never walked the streets of California, man. So I'm looking forward to getting over there.
Cali's a place, man.
Linking up, and I got I might got to get me a street bike so I can get the skill up.
Man.
And,
play with a 300. No, you're in the land of the coolest shit.
Bro, they got 50.
Get
they got
250.
Yeah, they got
get a.
They got 50s that look like the bike behind you. I'm like, what the fuck?
Like a Derby, Aprilia 50s. Yeah. You can get one of those or a 250. I'd say get a 250.
Yeah, the KTM 250.
Find an NSR 250, a KTM, a Cowie. Yeah. They got the Cowie 250s as 4-bagger. Like, you're in the perfect place for that kind of shit.
They're all over. Like you said, I'm like, bro. They got them all over, man. So the dude sold a KTM a couple weeks ago for 28. I mean, like with brand new, with spare fairings, spare plastics, spare tires. I'm like 28, and it looks dope.
Yeah,
as hell, man. She called me, man. All right, I'm gonna get out of here.
All right, do you think?
All right, guys. See you later. It's gonna be get Dice signing off from Pinku Style, Massage Japan,
Real life
California, man. So see you guys later. Peace.
All right, yo.